Hello, everyone. All right, we're now working here. Hi, everybody. Let's see. All right, trying to fix one thing and then we'll get started. Thank you for everyone checking in immediately. I appreciate it. We'll talk about this game tonight. This was a nice, better overall game than obviously against the Rockets. So, much better job by the Bulls tonight. And I'm glad that we got to witness this because I think we can hopefully kind of relax on some things for a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, welcome in. Bulls decided to hit their threes tonight, which is great. So we finally got a good three-point shooting game from them, and it results into a win. Not surprising. This was going to happen all season long. And we'll have some fun with it overall here. When you hit 23 threes, then, things look really good. Yeah, I'm overall, I think this is a solid performance by the Bulls tonight here. And yeah, we'll break a couple things down. I want to show a few things tonight. All right, what's going on, Jelly Prods? Hi Charles. I like to see I try at least one other offensive strategy to run fast and drive right. I mean, that's his game though. I'm not exactly too upset about it. I like the fact that it's run fast and go attack the lane. But I think that's kind of like I'm okay with if it's like up tempo. Does he need something else to add to his game? For sure, we talked about it before, but I'm fine with it personally. If you're just gonna attack the basket constantly and put pressure on the defense and pick up tempo, I can live with the misses. Again, he's not having a good finishing season, so if I ever the thing with Io is that I expect those shots that he's taking to go in, and he's not making them right now. So this is either we'll be at the 25 game mark to see if this is like going to continue or if this is a little bit just a rough stretch for him, because there are games that he's making everything and then there's games he's missing everything. So I'll be interested to see how it works out for him, but I personally I can live with it. Does he need to add more? For sure. And then we could then talk about him being like a full-time starter and stuff like that if he adds more, being able to hit the floater consistently, finish with his left. But for now, as a bench player that's going to be coming off, and obviously he's closing games at the moment, but I think it's okay. I mean, right now, for a guy that has to push tempo well and make sure the Bulls offense is pushing pace, that I can live with it. Does he need more? For sure. But I've always kind of said that he needs to add a little bit more. But yeah, he's got to figure out a way to start finishing those at the end of the day. What is the least expected thing this season? Vooch being a legit all-star or Pat missing dunks in a generational manner? Oh my god, man. Oh, we'll talk about the Pat stuff. I'm losing my mind over that. I was losing my mind when Pat missed that dunk, bro. I could not believe what I witnessed when Pat missed that dunk. Like, I don't know what I might make like a compilation after this season, or like maybe like heading into like December or something, just to start like in like halfway point, and then, or maybe it's January. Like I'll make it like January of like halfway point through the season of every Patrick Williams attempted dunk, and we'll just watch it, and then we'll watch it again after the season and just watch everything, because this is insane, bro. If you guys aren't aware of what's happening right now with the Patrick Williams, with Patrick Williams' dunks, okay, I want you guys to understand just how bad this is. Okay, coming into this season, okay. Okay, you know what? I won't start there. So far this season right now, okay, we'll start there. So far this season, Patrick Williams is 2 for 7 on dunk attempts. We're talking dunks, Yes, you heard me right. We're talking about dunks. It is insane that he is shooting 2 for 7 on dunk attempts this season so far. After his miss tonight, he is now 118 for 187. We are at a ridiculously horrible dunk percentage at the moment. Like, this is an insane number to see. Okay, we're talking about dunk attempts that most players shoot 100% on dunk attempts. Some shoot 99%, and then yeah, there's some that shoot like 90 something percent or whatever that don't exactly make every single one, because they try to get cute with it. But we're talking about Patrick Williams, who gets some of the easiest dunk attempts I've ever seen in my life. Whether it's a putback, whether it's him cutting and the defense just barely did not pick him up. Pat just doesn't flush him home on some of the easiest dunk attempts I've ever seen in my life. He doesn't dunk in traffic because he doesn't have the verticality or the strength right now to dunk in traffic. So these aren't dunks attempted with contact or anything. These are dunks attempted when he is wide open and he just flat out misses it. It's insane that we're seeing this right now. I cannot believe what we're looking at. So this has been an issue his entire career, hence obviously the number that we saw from Drew Stevens, who, by the way, does great work. But this whole thing with Pat has just been such a mind, I won't swear, but I don't get it. This is a guy who's a 6'7" forward, so it's not like he's lacking height. He has pretty okay athleticism, and that alone should be enough to help you be a solid dunker. I'm not expecting maybe 100% dunk rate from you, but you should at least be okay. To the point where you're like, yeah, I'm making most of my dunks like every other NBA player in the world would usually do. That's being okay at dunks, is that you're just an okay dunker, but you make most of your dunks, especially when you're wide open. And yet we're talking right now of a 6'7" forward who was drafted 4th overall, has decided, yeah, I'm gonna miss every dunk attempt that I go up with. And we can just we as fans just know these dunks that where he's missing them. So this year coming into tonight's game. So now he's down 2 for 7 on dunks for the season. But last year on dunks, okay? On dunks, he shot 74%, which is 74% overall is a great percentage if you're just shooting normal shots. But the fact that he is shooting 74% overall on dunk attempts, which means that out of basically 40 dunk attempts, he missed 10. That's not good. That's not a good sign. Now, obviously, he didn't play that many games last year. He played half a season. So then, if you're wondering, is this a new thing? No, this has always been an issue. As you can see in this game, in this season, he shot 73% on dunks. That's insane for a guy that is getting wide open dunk attempts. It's insane that we're talking about this, and it's just why? I don't know what it is at this point. Pat's also not good at making layups. You can just see in this season, he's shooting 48% from layup attempts, or whatever Basketball Reference considers a layup attempt. But this year, 48% on layup attempts. That's not good. When it comes to inside scoring for Patrick Williams, it is bad. And I don't know why. We've talked again. When he jumps off 1 foot, it's worse than when he jumps off 2. But the thing is, though, is that I've seen him jump off 2 feet for a dunk attempt and he still misses it. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if he's just needs to just jump off both feet all the time. Maybe it's a mechanical thing. I've talked about very detailed on this channel before that someone looked at his legs and when he was in college and his right leg is bent inward weirdly, where maybe it could kind of mess with his verticality a little bit, that where it's just if he really does if he tries hard to jump high, he can jump high, but in those split-second decisions, it's gonna maybe bring some inconsistency to his verticality, so he's gonna have a flat tire here and there. But either way, though, it's bad. So yeah, I appreciate you talking about that, Viper Strike, just to get that out of the way, because holy crap, bro. The fact that we saw this tonight where he just straight up missed that, and then last night, which I didn't stream after last night's game, Zach made a hell of a pass to him and Pat was wide open in the middle of the paint, no one around him, and he just misses a two-handed dunk. Like, it's one thing to miss a bunch of one-handed dunks, like, and you know, you're in traffic, like a guy hits you. I understand that. But a lot of Pat's dunks are two-handed dunks, attempts, I should say, and he just misses them. I don't get it. So Pat needs to, after this game, go make 100 dunks with two hands. Like, I don't know how else you're gonna get better, but it sounds crazy. But you need to go just work on your dunk attempts with two hands. Like, it's insane that how many dunks he has missed so far this season already, and we already know that he is a very bad dunker in the first place, and he's off to a horrific start this year in terms of his dunk attempts, and that's horrific for him. Like, he's usually not, 33% bad coming into this game on dunk attempts. Like, that, the fact that we're even talking about this now, even though that we've already pointed out he's a bad dunker, is just like, oh my god. So I hope it doesn't get worse. I'm hoping it's a fluke, but the stats don't lie. It doesn't seem like it's a fluke. Also, Zach having a full game and 3 out of 4 games of super off, and then suddenly turn on was weird to see. Yeah, Zach, I actually think with Zach right now, it's like he's just not really forcing stuff. Like, he's just kind of playing within the flow of the offense, and then whenever 1-3 goes down, it's like, oh, he's got it. Like, the light switches on, and he just can just heat up in a hurry. And yeah, I'm happy that Zach just took over in that fourth. I think the Bulls kind of needed it because Vooch kind of cooled down, but the Pistons were a little bit more aware of Vooch's three-point shooting at that moment. Kobe also kind of missed some shots, so it's kind of like you need Zach, and he delivered. So good job by Zach. Yeah, but we've seen it with Zach like throughout this entire season so far, where it's like 1-3 goes down, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. The Atlanta Hawks game is a big example where he just returned and he hits 1-3 in the second quarter, and suddenly boom, he puts up 9 straight. You're like, oh my god. The New York Knicks game, obviously, we witnessed just earlier. Yeah, even like in the first game of the season against the Pelicans, he had that moment. So yeah, I'm overall, I think this is a it's good by Zach, because I think this kind of shows the world, if the Bulls are still looking to trade him, like, first and foremost, that he's actually done a pretty decent job when he's not scoring, right? Zach overall this season has done a really good job. Like, when he's not scoring the ball, he's done like a good job with other things. The biggest thing is that defensively, he's looked really solid. I think you can make an argument that Zach's been easily your best, like, I guess not easily, but you can make the argument that he's been your best two-way player this year. In terms of consistency, because I think Zach has really put in the effort defensively this year, and I truly do appreciate it. I'm not expecting anything special from him. I just need to see the effort, and he's done that. Obviously, offensively, he's still Zach LaVine, so there's nothing new there. And so the thing that I do appreciate is that you're seeing Zach being more on ball this year instead of having him off ball defensively. Whether that was him or switched by Donovan, it's a good decision because he's a better on ball defender than off ball. He's done good there. He's had his turnover issues, but I think overall, like, if he's not scoring, he's passing it pretty well. Maybe he doesn't get the assists, but you see that he's breaking down the defense and he's finding guys for open looks. And he's done a good job of it. So I would like for him to rebound a little bit better. There are times he misses rebounds, but I can't be too critical at the end of the day. So yeah, I appreciate this with Zach. And then obviously, if you're a team that's kind of looking at Zach, like, one, can he be effective when he's not scoring? But then two, how good of an off-ball scorer can he be? Or like, how quickly can he just get it going when necessary, right? And you're seeing it. Like, it takes one shot to go down, and suddenly he's on fire. It happens like in a blink of an eye. Suddenly he hits 9 straight, or he has 9 straight points. He goes on a 9-0 run himself. That's Zach LaVine right now, and I think it's good. I also do appreciate right now that Billy Donovan is it seems like he's just kind of letting Zach. If Zach thinks he has it going, just let it fly. I think that's a really good decision because Last thing you want to do is get him out of his rhythm. So if Zach has it, man, I've always said that if he thinks he has a mismatch and he thinks he can get the 3-ball off, let him go. I think that's good offense at the end of the day. What impressed me was that the team didn't fall behind, looked to win early, even before the Vucevic and Zach hit hands. Yeah, this team was better, obviously much better tonight. I think overall everybody, and this includes Josh Giddey, so we're going to talk about this tonight, defensively was just a better effort tonight. I will say this also, just to make sure that I'm clear, both the Bulls and the Pistons did play last night, so maybe the Pistons were a little bit more tired. The Bulls rested a lot of their main guys for the second half of that Rockets game, so maybe the Bulls were just a little bit fresher, but either way, I do appreciate the better defensive effort. This was necessary by the Bulls to come out and be better defensively, and I think that they did that. And everybody played a better defensive effort tonight. So, Kobe spoke, Zach spoke after that Rockets game, and they said, hey, we got to be better defensively. Zach, said along the lines of you got the offensive end cannot dictate what you're doing defensively. And so I appreciate that the Bulls were better defensively. They obviously hit all their threes tonight, so it wasn't like their offense was bad, but I appreciate that the effort defensively was better. So I'm hoping that we see more of this. Not expecting a good defensive team. I'm just expecting just effort. That's all I care about. I need effort for the team. Pat Wemby, Pat, if he didn't dribble off his foot or miss an open dunk. Yep. Or catch a pass to the foot out of bounds. That is the other thing he does a lot, huh? Maybe you could work out of Pat is making an NBA record for these 3 stats. Pat to be a record holder. I'm interested. I don't have I wish I could do that research because I don't pay Basketball Reference for the extra data, but that would be something that I would like to look into. Through your first 5 seasons, who's had the most amount of missed dunks in their career? I would like to see that. So yeah, I'll look into it. Practice on dunks as an NBA player, 6'7" is insane, funny, and just sad, man. Oh, I agree, Magugla. By the way, good to see you. Yeah, it's sad that we're talking about this. I don't think we should be talking about this for Pat because there's no reason to. But yeah, I agree. It's sad that we're talking about it, especially for a guy who was drafted 4th overall, who just was paid $90 million. Yeah, we shouldn't be talking about this, but here we are. We're talking about it again. With win number 6, Bulls officially guarantee a better start to the season than last year. Oh, wow, that's actually crazy, yeah. I forgot the Bulls started that bad last year. Zach obviously wasn't playing well. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit shocked that happened. Yeah, oh my God, we really started bad last year. So yeah, that's crazy. The Bulls are off to a they guaranteed a better start than the 5-14, right? Yeah, we'll see where we end up. So we're now 6-9. Yeah, crazy. This doesn't make any sense. I agree. I completely agree, Magula. I completely agree. Look, he played a better game than I tonight, earned the right to close, plus go for a triple-double for his confidence. Do I think Giddey played better than Ayo tonight overall? Yeah. Do I think Giddey played better defense? No. And I think with the way that Donovan always coaches is that if Zach and Kobe and Vooch are your 3 guys that you're going to be trusting down the stretch to kind of handle the ball and make decisions, then you go with the defensive player in the end. Was Ayo hitting his shots? No. But was he obviously better defensively? Yeah. So it's at the end of the day, it's the rough end for Giddey, where you're I had a pretty decent game. Was it like a spectacular game? No. But in the end, because your defensive effort or your defensive capabilities is a little bit concerning, you're most likely just going to not play. So I do agree though that I think Giddey played better than Ayo tonight. I just think that with the way Donovan coaches and knowing that Kobe and Zach are your 2 main guards down the stretch, that you run Ayo out there instead. So sucks for Giddey. I think this was a solid game from Giddey tonight. I don't think it was anything spectacular on offense. I understand, everyone's gonna say, oh my God, 10 assists. A lot of those assists weren't exactly that incredible, but I appreciate obviously his really good passing and vision. The biggest thing for me tonight with Giddey was that he gave effort defensively. Hence on his dunk attempt, his dunk that he made where he did the behind the back move on the fast break. The biggest thing in my opinion about that whole sequence was that he played good defense to set up his dunk attempt. He played solid defense, and that was what I want to see. Okay, like the behind the back is nice. I know he has that in his game though. The dunk obviously is really cool. Like, fast break attempt for him. See something go down like that for him is probably a nice feeling. But the biggest thing though was that he played solid defense on Cade Cunningham that defensive possession, which then set up his dunk attempt. That to me is the biggest thing. I just appreciate that he gave the defensive effort that we've been needing to see. Do I expect Giddey to be a good defender? No. Do I expect him to be anything special defensively? No. I just need to see the effort from him, and obviously in Cleveland we did not see that effort from him. Hence the fouls. Hence he got pulled. So moving forward with Giddey, I'm just asking just to see that sort of defensive effort. I'm just asking for that. The bar again is down here. It's not a high bar. It's the bar is down here in terms of defensive effort for Josh Giddey on this team. I'm not asking for anything special. I'm not asking for steals or deflections. I'm just asking you just to play solid or give good effort on a defensive end. You're gonna get beat. You're not that athletic. You don't have the biggest wingspan. I understand that, but at the bare minimum, what you can do is you can give effort and try, and that's what he did tonight. So I appreciate that he tried, and he was rewarded for his good defensive effort with that dunk. And I'm hoping that continues, because that's going to help him stay on the floor. That's going to build the trust back into its ability to play him more, and to have him out there closing games if he can show he's going to give that good effort defensively. So he doesn't have the physical tools, right? But I think a lot of guys on this team don't have the physical tools to be a good defender, but at least they're showing good effort. I was probably the right call. Thought they could jam up with him late game. Like they left it completely open for a few times, but it's a trade-off. Yeah. Giddey played better. I think he wasn't just he wasn't just pass and go to the corner. He got the balls, a lot of drive and kick balls to Vooch. I mean, the biggest thing in my opinion where Giddey, so first and foremost, he shot the threes that I thought he needed to take tonight. Like, I think he passed up on one, you can argue, but I won't be too critical if you pass up on one. So I appreciate that he did that. Like, he wasn't making them necessarily, but you got to shoot it, right? So he shot them. He had a rough go in the fourth. He shot a three that was pretty heavily contested, blocked. Then he had the turnover where he was trying to push the ball down the court, and then he tried to pass up to Jalen Smith, and then it was swatted away for a turnover. So he didn't exactly have the greatest fourth quarter in any means. So hence why I think maybe Billy went with Io. But yeah, Giddey, in my opinion, tonight, he really played better in transition, like much better. You saw him especially in secondary transition. He's looking for Vooch. He's like, okay, can I maybe dribble penetrate a little bit here to try to draw the defense just a little bit more, and then kick it back out to Vooch for a three. Like that's the Giddey that we need to see. But also the effort on offensive rebounds. Okay, this is where I am saying that you have to, if you're Josh Giddey, if you're gonna be some sort of effective player without the basketball, I need to see that effort on offensive rebounds, and we saw it multiple times tonight. We saw this against the Memphis Grizzlies, where Giddey was like actively trying to get offensive rebounds with his size, just being in good position. That's a way he can be effective, right? That's not asking him to score, that's not asking him to play make, but that's something that is a strength of his, where he is a bigger guy, hence then you can fight for offensive rebounds. And I think that there were times tonight where we saw it, where he didn't get the rebound, but he still fought for it. So that's where Giddey has to figure things out. Like, it's all about where's the balance of like, okay, I'm not going to have the ball maybe as much as I thought I was going to have, because Zach is Zach, Kobe is Kobe, and Io's the third guard right now. And obviously when Lonzo plays, he's an option too. So if that's the case, then how can you be effective without the basketball? And that's a way you can do so. Obviously hitting your threes would be nice, but he's not, shooting exactly great at the moment. So if you're not going to be a good 3-point shooter, this is it. Like, you gotta set good screens, which I think he did today. I think he played really decent like in transition, where he was looking for guys in secondary transition. He pushed the pace to, I think, to Billy's liking, which was good, and he got an offensive rebound. Like, do that sort of stuff. That's helpful. So solid game overall. I think this is a good step in the right direction for him, in terms of just building confidence. And we'll see. Like, it's unfortunate like that I have to say this, but just like with Patrick Williams, I kind of said after he had 3 good games in a row, or like after his second good game in a row, I'm like, okay, well, let's make it 5. So with Giddey, like, I think tonight is a good example of like how you can be effective without the ball as much, right? He didn't have the ball as much, like he was probably having during training camp and earlier in the year. Obviously Kobe and Zach and obviously Vooch, with how well he was scoring tonight, they have the ball a lot. So that being said, knowing that, how can you not have the ball as much but still be an effective player, even though you're not that great of a defender? So giving effort defensively helps, being a good rebounder, and then obviously just playing well in transition is always helpful. So this is good for Giddey. Hopefully it's a blueprint to kind of use to help him just get some confidence back, feel better about himself. And hopefully that 3-point shot starts going down. He missed some shots at the rim again tonight. It's okay though. So I'm hoping that 3-point shot continues to go down, or starts to go down again, because it's helpful when he does. Hope Io's in a hot/cold year player from year 3. Really hoping he finds his strokes to not repeat 2022-23. I am also starting to get to that point with you, AV Breeze. Like, I am a bit concerned about it. Because yeah, it really does seem like Io's like a hot and cold, like up and down player right now. Because year 1 he was great, year 2 not as good. Similar points obviously, but the shooting percentage is different. Year 3 obviously he took a pretty major step last year, and then this year, I mean, he came into the game shooting 26% from 3 and 44% from the field, which is not typical Io numbers. Even when Io shot badly from 3 in his sophomore season, he still shot 49% from the field. So yeah, I agree. I'm concerned, to say the least. The only thing though that does give me some hope though is like we've seen some solid games from Io, where he's hitting his typical shots that he makes. He's hitting the 3-point shot, and obviously defensively, I know I don't have to really worry about him there too much. So yeah, I agree. It's all about just kind of first things first is to try to figure out how to finish again consistently, because right now it's not looking great. 3-point shot, it honestly can come later. Like, the Bulls are shooting enough threes without him taking like a bunch of attempts, so like I'm not too concerned about that. So yeah, find a way to finish again, and then we can work out to the 3-point line, because that will tremendously help. If not, then it might be like he might just be one of those up and down players, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't know if he needs to be in the starting lineup. Maybe, I know Zach's still here, so that's not going to happen anytime soon, but maybe that's what needs to happen for him to kind of get back to where he was last year. Definitely I'm in the same camp as you. As if any player open should shoot 3 on the station. Taking the right shot is better for me than people making hard shots. They're a bad one sometimes. Oh, I agree. Yeah, shoot it, please. If you're open, shoot it. The Bulls had some possessions tonight where they didn't shoot it. Please shoot the 3 ball. And I'm not talking about Giddey. I'm talking about like Patrick Williams and Jalen Smith not shooting it. Giddey's offensive rebound worm, not using straight but warming in. Yeah, that's good from Giddey. Like, that's a way to be effective. That's something that you can use to your advantage, especially if you're being guarded by a smaller guard. Yeah, I mean, I know Giddey wanted to come into this team and have the ball in his hands and make the plays, be the main ball handler, but right now, man, that's not being asked of him. So you gotta adjust. And right now, I hope that tonight's a good adjustment for him. I'm not gonna really count the Rockets game or anything like that. Like, he didn't do anything special there. So I'm not like, and no one really played well in that Rockets game, so I'm not gonna count that. Like, no one had a full game. But this is, compared to, let's say, the Cleveland game, right? This is obviously much better. Just better overall everything. So let's try to repeat this now. If you're not gonna have the ball as much, then let's try to continue doing something like this tonight. I playmaking possession to bench unit. I would like to pretend are for growth, as they're not good and leaning to Kobe, but I feel like it's just the plan for coaches to switch between. Wait. As they're not good and leaning into Kobe, but I feel it's just the plan from coaching to switch between. Sorry, Charles, your syntax is interesting in your sentence. Are you saying that you want Io to have playmaking possessions with the bench unit, but instead they use Kobe a lot more, and like with the bench unit as the playmaker? Is that what you're saying? It's a bit like when OKC had a period they tried Dort picking the ball up and it hurt Ballet until they moved off it. Sure, as Io's bad at playmaking, they keep using him. I think from what I've seen from Io in his first 3 seasons, he's he's an overall like solid playmaker. I would say he's not anything special. Like he's not like the next playmaker of any team. I think specifically with him, he does sort of need that sort of big man to kind of be there. And right now, Jalen Smith in that bench unit is more of the pick and fade instead of a pick and roll guy, right? I think Io with the more of a pick and roll big is a little bit better in terms of that sort of playmaking style. Around Mark Kobe and Smith is relatively, in terms of being the main ball handler, I agree. I would agree with that statement. I think Kobe has shown you to be a really solid overall playmaker. Kobe's had some moments of just bad decisions, but obviously he draws more defenders. He bends the defense more effectively. So I would agree. With Io though, like I've kind of said this about him, like if he's gonna ever be like the point guard of a starting team, whether it's the Bulls or whoever, he would have to up his playmaking abilities and also up his scoring. Like he would have to take a serious jump. Where I do think Io is sort of leaning into right now is that he is more likely just kind of being like a 2 guard. And that's fine. Like I always said that's fine with Io. You can kind of be more of a defensive minded 2 guard that doesn't necessarily play make as much or score as much, and be really effective in that sort of role. You have to hit the 3-point shot obviously, but yeah, I think that's a fine role for him. If that's where he's kind of leaning into more so, I think that's fine. You can start or come off the bench and still be extremely effective in that role, and I think he's kind of leaning into that now. Again, we'll see moving forward. I mean, his assists are higher than they've ever been coming into this game, so I don't necessarily think like his playmaking is taking like a dramatic dip or anything. If that's what if you're trying to say that. So yeah. Our team is a Dort / AC / Williams, and some have 3. Well, okay. I think specifically, like, Dort and AC are very different from a Williams, in my opinion. Like, Dort is very much like he is a hound you type of defender, where Io is not necessarily like that. Like, Io's like he's a really solid, like, screen navigator, and really uses his length to his advantage over smaller guards. AC is just like a top of the world defender that even Io doesn't even come close to. Okay, some walls. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I was about to say, because then Jalen Williams is very different from those 2 guys. Okay, Case of Wallace makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I can understand that sort of saying. What's going on, Say Over? How you doing? Appreciate everyone checking in. Yeah, we haven't really even gotten to the game because we started talking initially about Patrick Williams and his missed dunks and other stuff. Okay, so quick numbers here. Bulls had 21 assists at halftime. They ended with 28. I was a little shocked when I saw this. I was like, wait, that's interesting, but you know what? We'll take it. I do think that the Bulls offense overall this game was really solid. But I will say though, it wasn't like it was, nuclear in all the quarters. Like the Bulls, like putting up 29 is obviously not horrible. But like it wasn't like the Bulls consistently hit the 30 mark. Like they got to 28, 29, so it's like kind of hitting 30, but it wasn't like the Bulls were over 30 consistently. So it was like the Bulls like had like this crazy explosion. It was just like a very like steady performance on offense. So I appreciate that. 23 threes made. That's really good. 8 of them were made in the first quarter. 8 of 10 shooting. So that's also really good. And the Bulls limited the turnovers. So offensively, this is much better than the Rockets game. Much better than the Cleveland game. What am I thinking of? Never mind. But yeah, just overall better. Over just everywhere. Bulls that hit their threes against the Rockets. They hit their threes tonight. Made up for it. Second game of back-to-back, but Bulls rested some of their starters in the fourth quarter of their Rockets game. So good overall on offense. Now defensively, to me, is the biggest thing today. Okay, so the Bulls held the Pistons to 25 points in the first quarter. That is by far the best quarter defensively all season long. Good to see that there. And then they were able to keep them under 30 for 2 more quarters. That's a step in the right direction. For a team that came into tonight's game, the Bulls coming into tonight's game were giving up 123.7 points per game. Okay? That's how many points per game on average they were giving up to opponents. That was somehow not ranked last coming into tonight's game. So to just show you how badly the defense has been, especially recently, the Bulls came into the tonight's game giving up on average 123.7 points per game. So to see them limit the Pistons to 112, to see them limit the Pistons to only one 30-point quarter was really good. Better overall defensively by everybody tonight, and it was just good to see. Do I think a more a contending level team can still put up 120 tonight? For sure. Like if this was the Boston Celtics, I think we still get 130 put up on our heads. But giving the better effort defensively is what I just need to see. And there was very clearly a better defensive effort tonight compared to the Rockets game, and then also compared to the Cavs game. Much better tonight. So keep this sort of level of effort up. I don't expect anything spectacular. I'm just saying just to play better defense. Just give effort. You're not supposed to be good stoppers or anything. So this needs to continue in terms of defensive effort. I'm not expecting a bunch of stops in a row like the Thunder are doing right now. But just give me the effort, and I'm gonna be all good with how they're playing. DC's talent. Dyson Daniels says the deflections and steals of AC and during the season is starting at the top. It's crazy to watching the Hawks versus Boston, and one after could see. Wait, what? I don't know what the last part is. I have seen that Dyson Daniels is like on pace to break the record of deflections in a season. If he keeps up obviously this pace, he probably won't. But if let's say Dyson Daniels played all 82 and kept up with this pace, he would easily break the record. So yeah, Dyson Daniels has done really well in Atlanta very quickly. Let's hope this continues for him. You're not gonna see it again. Crazy how good he played in. Oh yeah, I understand now. Yeah, it's honestly crazy. Dyson Daniels has always been a guy I've been like always keeping my eye on, but I didn't really know what he was going to become, and so yeah, it's cool to really see it. Yeah, the fact that he has that many deflections already is just insane. So I'm hoping that it's either the league is in trouble, or he's going to slow down, and he's played some teams that have just been sloppy with the basketball. Either way, though, it's a really good sign for the Hawks. They might have actually really hit on that. And they might actually be getting like the sort of defender that they thought DeJounte Murray was going to be in that trade where they traded DeJounte Murray away. So yeah, I'll get defenders. So Bulls there is sad to watch at times. Oh, of course. it's always sad watching the Bulls on defense. We love AC and everything, but the Bulls didn't exactly have the greatest defensive seasons the past couple of seasons, right? They had one good year, but yeah, it's if you like defense, then this is not the team to watch. Yeah, definitely not the team to watch if you like good defense. So yeah, so I went over the numbers for this game from the score. Now the other thing is this, and this is kind of always my big indicator of like how the Bulls are sort of doing on defense. So the Pistons still have 50 points in the paint tonight. Now, if you want to know how many points in the paint the Bulls gave to the Houston Rockets, just really quickly, if you want to look at this, the Bulls against the Houston Rockets gave up so many points. But one of the biggest things that was really frustrating was just that the points in the paint battle was just insane. The Houston Rockets scored 80 points in the paint in that game. Now, knowing that the Bulls don't have good point of attack defenders all around, and you don't have a rim protector, I'm expecting them to give up a lot of points in the paint. That's not surprising. But the fact that it wasn't like 60 tonight is a good sign. If they're giving up only like about 50 or less, that's a very good sign. This is kind of like the big showing of like, is this a good defensive overall game? Because sometimes the numbers don't exactly show it, where it's like the team is just struggling to shoot, but the Bulls still give up like, 60 points in the paint or something, but they can't hit a three. So this is kind of my big indicator of always just like, how good were the Bulls really tonight? And so 50, while it is still a lot, it's better than obviously what we've seen recently. So this is really good to see. Bulls also had a bunch of second chance points, so shout out to them still fighting for loose balls and getting the extra possessions. So a lot of second chance points tonight. 14 to 13 in fast break opportunities. Pistons had some good moments on that end as well. So pretty close battle there. Now let's get into some of the individual stuff, because we've talked a lot individually about P. Will. We talked a lot about Josh Giddey, also about Io. Now let's go to probably the player of the game, which is Nikola Vucevic. I just can't believe what we're witnessing from Vuce this season. I'm honestly shocked. I've been kind of telling people that don't expect anything good from Vooch. I know that he's supposed to have like a redemption season, but just due to his age and his recent performances overall, I just have not had faith in him moving forward in terms of recovering. I still think he could have put up like 17 and 10 on not great efficiency and obviously not good defense. I still think he could do that, but I did not expect this. He was 1-3 away from a new career high in a game, which is insane. And the fact that we saw Nikola Vucevic hit 6 threes in a game this season after the season that he had last year is crazy. So yeah, Vooch has straight up this year has proven me wrong. He has just straight up proven me wrong on every front. I said coming into the year that don't expect anything special. There's no way he gets better. Sorry, I got a text. There's no way that he's gonna get better. He's not gonna recover his field goal percentage. He'll still put up some stats, but this is insane to see that in, what is he? Is this his age 34 year? I can never remember fully correctly. But for a guy that this is age 34 season. So for a guy that hit my mic. For a guy that his 3-point shooting overall has been like the good season of 3-point shooting, which was this year where he got traded to the Bulls. That was the anomaly. Okay, like he really has never had like a really good 3-point shooting year in terms of field goal percentage, and the year that he got traded to the Bulls was the anomaly. Like that was not consistent. Even when he started to shoot threes, right? Like it wasn't like he was shooting a great percentage. He gets to the Bulls, he shot 31% one year, 35% the next year, which is not bad. But then he shot 29% the following year in his age 33 season. And this was when I'm like, okay, knowing that he's now 33 or now turning 34, he's just getting older. He's not getting any younger. So this was when I'm just like, there's no way he gets any better. And yet, some way, somehow, I don't know what the hell he did in the offseason. I guess he sort of tweaked his shot a little bit, but like nothing in terms of like his foundation. He is now shooting for the season. He is shooting 59% from the field on 14 attempts overall, field goal attempts from the field, okay? I want you to understand this is the reason why he's playing so well, is because he is shooting less attempts overall from the field than last season, but because he's being so much more efficient with his shot selection, he is scoring more points. He is shooting 59% from the field on only 14 attempts per game, and you're scoring 20 points per game instead of 18. That's why it's important to be efficient with, or be just shooting smarter shots is so important, because it will lead to you being more efficient, less shots to score more points. This is why Vooch is having such a good year. He is shooting so many more shots inside the paint, and then obviously when he's shooting jump shots, most of them have been from 3-point range. Okay, this is what we need to see. Okay, this sort of shooting chart a lot of shots in the paint, right? Less mid-range attempts, especially less post fadeaways, which he's been hitting, but I don't need to see that many. And then most of your jump shots need to be at the 3-point line, okay? So overall, you can kind of see here that we just count the 10 to 16 or 10 to 16 feet and then 16 to the 3-point line shots. He's taking 27 mid-range shots. He's taking 56 threes coming into tonight's game, right? That's good. That's just being more efficient. That's being smarter with your shot selection. And he's done basically what I thought could never have happened. I really thought that this would never have happened with Vooch, but he has absolutely done it so far to start the year. It's still early. I just want to point that out. Okay, it is still early, 15 games in. I'm not gonna go ahead and be like, oh my god, he's back to all-star Vooch automatically. 15 games in. I'm gonna wait until the 25 game mark to kind of see where he's at there. But it's a really good start to the season, and something that I even just starting the season like this, I thought could have never happened for Vooch. Let's say he does fall off, as we continue to move on. Just the fact that he started this way is insane to me. So props to him. He has basically proven me wrong on all fronts. We'll see if this continues. I hope it does, because then maybe the Bulls can trade him for something. But it's been a really solid start to the year for Vooch. Let's see if this continues for him, because the shot selection and obviously hitting your open 3-point attempts has been the biggest change. And now suddenly he's, instead of him being a liability at the 3-point line, he's been an absolute threat. So hopefully this continues for Vooch. So really good game from Vooch tonight. He absolutely just could not miss in that third quarter. He was hitting a lot of shots early on in that first quarter. I think he actually couldn't miss in the first quarter either. So yeah, just awesome game from Vucevic. Yeah, I'm thrilled that he's playing much better. Again, hopefully the Bulls can trade him at the trade deadline. I have my doubts, but we'll see. I'm hoping this continues. Kobe White deserves a lot of praise tonight. I think that him and Vooch kind of really got the scoring going for the Bulls early on. Kobe then hit some shots in the third as well. So props to Kobe for just bringing the designated shooting touch. That's basically what I'm calling Kobe from here on out, is the designated shooter for this team. He always is taking a bunch of 3-point attempts, and Casey Johnson, I think, has tweeted out that this is the 7th time already this season that Kobe has hit 5 or more threes in a game. So this needs to continue. Just keep launching it. I'm completely fine, and most of his shots are from 3-point range. Just keep shooting it. That's awesome. So hopefully that continues with Kobe. And then obviously Zach LaVine decided to just come alive in that fourth quarter. If you weren't here earlier, I think Zach has been really solid even when he's not scoring this season. I think he's been really solid defensively, especially in on-ball defense. I think he's been really taking that challenge well. I think he's really found his teammates for either good open looks or just making the correct passes within the offense. He's not forcing anything. He's allowed to take a shot here and there to try to see if he can get it going. I think that's fine. But he went into that fourth quarter with 9 points, and suddenly he exploded. That fourth quarter performance where he suddenly hit 7 threes, he had at one point 3 threes in 61 seconds, was something to watch. So for another guy that is potentially on the trade block, this is a really solid overall performance from him. Shows that he can do more than just be a scorer. Is effective when he's not scoring the ball. And Zach shooting 14 threes in the game is just honestly a dream come true for me. I've been calling for Zach to be averaging like 10 plus threes per game for a while. I know it sounds insane for a lot of people, but if you go look at Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, how many times they shoot the ball, it's not that crazy. So maybe Zach doesn't need to average 10 threes a game, but if he can get up to 9, his career high is 8, like that would be good. Keep shooting those threes, and don't be afraid to launch him, because if he makes one, it seems like all of them suddenly go down. So Zach pretty much closed the game out with his incredible stretch. So those are obviously the kind of big three tonight for the Bulls. I did talk about Giddey earlier. I think that Giddey had a really solid game tonight. Biggest thing is defensively, he gave the effort that I wanted to see. So So props to him there. People did not have that great of a game tonight, and we'll talk about him in just a second. Again, Debo had the secret sauce for overreporting for the Bulls at age 34, and apparently passed it on to Vooch for this season. That's honestly very funny if you think of it that way. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what it is. Maybe age 34 is just the age that you need to be to just suddenly have a good year on the Bulls. I know that's not the case for a lot of the players in Bulls history, but yeah. Fastest dominant game in the G League. You mean Buzelis? Okay. Woodage, I agree. I agree that Buzelis only getting 2 minutes is ridiculous. Now I will also say this though, for Buzelis, this is technically his 4th game in a row, if you really think about it. So Buzelis, he played in Cleveland. He then played on Saturday for the G League. He then played on Sunday against Houston, and then now he plays tonight. So I will say, while he isn't exactly playing like a ton of minutes in all those games, you're still getting ready. You're still going out there, and he could have fatigue. It's hard to play 4 days in a row. So I agree that I think Buzelis, no matter what, should be getting more minutes than obviously 2 minutes. I've been calling for it all year, and I've been calling for this constantly. But I will say though, I think maybe fatigue, especially for a rookie, might have been a factor tonight. I know he's not exactly playing a bunch of minutes every single game, but it wouldn't shock me if he was like fatigued heading into this game. So tomorrow should be a day off for him for sure. Yeah, so as AV Breeze said, yeah, it's 4 games in a row. Dyson Daniels averaging 3.7 steals per game. Yeah, but Charles was just talking about it. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Dyson Daniels right now is on pace to break the deflections record in the season. If he keeps this up, like, he would break it easily. So we'll see if this keeps up. I don't know if this will keep up for him, but yeah. Honestly, Hawks have always been one of my teams I never like to watch, with Dyson Daniels are amazing. Response to Dyson mentioned again. I will never watch the Atlanta Hawks as long as Trae Young is there. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of him. I think Trae Young's a good player, but I don't know, bro. That Luka Doncic trade, I feel like it's just gonna haunt the Atlanta Hawks history forever. And they're just cursed. And also, I just don't like their branding that much. But I agree though that Dyson Daniels has made them more exciting. At least 10 minutes per game, I agree. Woodage, I definitely agree. Fun little tidbit: Casey Johnson says tonight was the first Bulls trio to each score 25 plus with 5 plus 3-pointers made in franchise history. 7th time in the NBA history. Wow. That is actually crazy. That is one hell of a stat, honestly. Yeah, so Kobe, Zach, and Vooch all had 25 and at least 5 threes made. And Zach had 7, Vooch had 6, and Kobe had 5 threes. That's crazy. Wow. Not shocked that it's the first time in franchise history, but the 7th time in NBA history. Honestly, that's I'm a little shocked that it's been that many times. But the fact that this did happen tonight is actually crazy. Never thought I would ever see the day where a Billy Donovan team is putting up 23 threes made in a game. Never thought I would have seen that day. But here we are. We're shooting a bunch of threes now, so it's good things now. So yeah, awesome. Keep it up. Go and do it again. Well, it's hard. It's so hard to repeat. For obvious reasons, hence what we just talked about. But yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that little tidbit. All right. Really quickly though, just to finish off the individual stuff. So I think Julian Phillipson had an overall solid game. The numbers don't really say much, but I think he came in. It was a nice little spark. Defensively, I'm starting to see right now with Julian Phillips, like, I see the vision for him in the future where he's a really solid defender. But for now, with what's happening, with how teams are kind of attacking him, and because it's like it's his 2nd year and like he is pretty thin at the end of the day, I'm not shocked that his defense is a little right now. But I really appreciate just his movement within the offense, his defensive activity. He had a nice deflection today. Wasn't a steal, but he did get a deflection. So his wingspan is obviously coming into play. So it's just about him just getting a little bit bigger. I think once he gets a little bit bigger, he'll be really effective on the defensive end. But for now, he is still pretty thin. So I'm hoping that will, figure itself out later. But I appreciate just his overall his activity and his effort, and I think it's been really solid. Jalen Smith, I think, played okay. I'm a little bit concerned about him right now in terms of like being able to finish at the rim. This was not really much of an issue last year, but I do think that he just sort of pick and choose when he's going to try to attack the rim. He's still making a 3-point shot. Like he's taking them with full confidence and still draining them. Defensively, he's not been great, which is what we were expecting coming into this year. The one thing that Donovan did try today a little bit is that he put Jalen Smith on like the 4 against the Pistons, right? And then he had Julian Phillips guarding the center. So in this case, it would have been Isaiah Stewart. The Bulls are kind of switching everything with that lineup, but kind of start possession. So we were kind of seeing some of those, little switches for Donovan, knowing that Jalen Smith is just not a good defender, especially in the pick and roll defense. And maybe putting Julian Phillips on like the center will allow Jalen Smith just kind of hide as the 4. Jalen Smith played a lot of the 4 in Indiana, so maybe that's kind of the idea moving forward with him, is like he is the center or the big man in the second unit, but he doesn't necessarily guard the biggest guy on the floor. So we'll see. I'm a little bit concerned about his finishing at the moment, and making sure he stays efficient. Maybe he's still recovering from an illness. I'm not entirely sure. 3-point shot's still there though, so I'm not concerned about that. I'm hoping that he'll kind of just get back into a better rhythm though overall. Terry had that moment today against Isaiah Stewart, and that's honestly pretty much all he did. I tweeted it out during the game, but if there's one guy that you should be very careful with on the Pistons, it's Isaiah Stewart. Okay, his nickname is Beef Stew for a reason. I do not want to mess with Isaiah Stewart whatsoever. I appreciate Dalen having that chip on his shoulder whenever he checks into the game. I appreciate his effort. I love that he brings the energy, and he's willing to really get into guys' faces and be like a really annoying nuisance. I appreciate all of that, but at the end of the day, when I see a large Isaiah Stewart ready to throw hands with a pretty skinny Dalen Terry, I get very scared for Dalen Terry's well-being. Not to say that I don't think Dalen Terry can hold himself up in a fight. It's just that's Isaiah Stewart that we're looking at, and we've seen Isaiah Stewart do crazy things before. So knowing that he's pretty much outweighed by like 60 pounds against Isaiah Stewart, I would just like to tell him, do not mess with that man. I think Isaiah Stewart started everything. I don't think Dalen Terry did anything bad at all. I'm like, bro, if there's one guy to just not mess with, it's Isaiah Stewart. Let him be. If he threw that little chip shot at Dalen in the middle of the play, and I understand that. But just stay away from that guy. If it's anybody else, I would say that I think this is everything that Dalen did in that play was great. But I'm glad that his teammates caught him in time before he made another, bit of contact with Isaiah Stewart, because that could have gotten ugly. So props to his teammates and security for stopping that quickly. And the officials need to get better at just calling double text and moving on with the game, and not reviewing it for a good 5 minutes before we make a decision. So that was Dalen Terry's day, pretty much in a nutshell. I don't really know what to say with Ayo. He's missing a lot of shots at the rim that I've seen him make a lot of. The 3-point shot wasn't there again tonight. He's taking it with full confidence, it looks like, though. His pace is looking really solid. He is very quick with the basketball. He's pushing the tempo really well, especially like we've seen it many times where the other team scores and Ayo just pushes it down the floor and potentially draws a foul or something like that. So Ayo's tempo is really solid. He's pushing the pace well. He's getting to the basket like pretty quickly. It's just that he's not finishing right now, and that's the biggest concern. Ayo has always had the ability to finish really well as a guard. And for some reason this year, it just hasn't been there. So I'm hoping that he can figure that out. Other than that, though, I think that defensively he was fine. He had a nice moment blocking, I think, Katie Cunningham, but he guarded Ivy tonight. He guarded Cunningham tonight. So, major overall effort from Io tonight on that end of the floor. I didn't see the whole game today. What's going on, Noel? Just saw Zach catching fire. Yeah, Noel, you missed a Nikola Vucevic, I guess, masterclass for like the first 3 quarters. Vuce just couldn't miss through the first 3 quarters. He didn't score a point in the fourth, unfortunately, but yeah, Vuce just was draining threes left and right. The Pistons were seriously lacking some size, even with Duran and Stewart, and they're smaller in the end anyway. So it was kind of like the Vuce and Kobe show initially, and then Zach came into the fourth with like 9 points, or maybe it was 7, honestly, for Zach, coming into that fourth, and then he just caught fire. Yeah, he just, yeah, it was 7. He put up, you saw the Zach LaVine show, but yeah, three threes in 61 seconds is crazy. I think Zach overall played a really solid game, even when he wasn't scoring. So yeah, I think that's really good. It was really good overall. Now we're gonna move into some stuff in the film, because I do want to talk about some things in terms of the film. And fortunately, the first thing that we're gonna have to go and look at is the Patrick Williams missed dunk, because holy crap, I cannot believe Patrick Williams missed that dunk today after he missed, obviously, the dunk last night, which was also wide open, which off a pass from Zach. Yeah, I was losing my mind when Pat missed this the dunk tonight, which I'm trying to remember, was it in the third quarter? I guess it was third quarter. Yeah, Pat, so far to start the season, if you weren't here to start the stream, okay, Patrick Williams has taken 7 dunk attempts this season. He has made 2. Okay, Patrick Williams has missed 5 dunks already this season out of his 7 attempts at trying to dunk the basketball. He has made 2. He has missed 5. I don't know what in the hell is happening with Pat in terms of his missed dunks, but Pat already coming into the season, like, he is known to have already missed a lot of dunks in his career. He's missed too many already in his career, to the point where you're just like, what the hell? This isn't good. But the fact that now we're looking at Pat and we're like, how did you get worse when we already think you're pretty bad at dunking in the first place, doesn't give me much faith. Pat had 3 good games in a row before the Rockets game. I think he had a really solid game in Cleveland. But this is the reason why I said after he had the second good game in a row, I'm like, okay, well, give me 5 good games in a row. Because I don't think he can give me 5 good games in a row. But if he does that, then maybe we have something in him in terms of being consistent. I'm not asking for anything special, just asking for good starting level consistent play. And since that Cleveland Cavaliers game, the Rockets game, which I'm not going to hold too hard against him because no one really played well in that game. He didn't play a full game. But in this game, like, he had a nice second quarter, but that was really it on offense. Defensively, I'm going to give him some credit for guarding Cade Cunningham a lot tonight. He really gave Cade Cunningham a lot of issues, and I think that he deserves the praise for that. Bulls made sure to keep Cade Cunningham on Patrick, or made sure to keep Patrick Williams on Cade Cunningham throughout the entire night. And so I think people did a pretty solid job guarding Cade Cunningham tonight. His length clearly was a big factor, forced him into some tough mid-range shots that we'll obviously live with. So the fact that, he did that defensively is nice to see, but 3 for 10 shooting overall is not good. And then it doesn't really help when you have moments like what we're about to watch right here. Okay. I can't for the life of me figure out what is happening with Pat. I mean, we've talked about it many times on this channel. Like, we've talked about that his, when he leaps off 1 foot instead of 2 feet, like, it seems he doesn't have as much bounce. I've also talked about that there's been an NBA scout looking at his right leg a lot. Looked at it in college where there's a picture where it's like his right leg is kind of bent inward a little bit, so that means like he's gonna have inconsistent verticality. But either way, though, you're a 6'7" forward in the NBA who was drafted 4th overall. You don't need incredible athleticism to dunk consistently. You just don't. You're 6'7". Yeah, you need to have some verticality being 6'7". You're not Yao Ming, but you don't need to, have crazy verticality like how John Morant, has it, right? Like, you don't need that. So with Pat, like a lot of his dunks are non-traffic. They're wide open. They're pretty simple dunks. They're either put back dunks where he just, I guess we saw him miss time one this year, which counted as a dunk attempt. But a lot of these dunk attempts are wide open. It's not like he's trying to dunk through traffic. And he's not like he's getting fouled on these plays either. He's just straight up missing these dunks. So we're gonna go ahead and watch a missed dunk attempt. So Io here, sorry, epic pen time. Io drove baseline. Pat, I won't talk about the entire play, but Pat, kind of got caught in no man's land in the middle of the floor here. And so he threw it back out to Io. Io then drove baseline. He had to step on Cunningham. Duran moves over to cover that up. And we get a nice pass from Io here to Pat. Sorry. Hold on. Video. Okay, video's back. So here's Io. It's going to be this nice bounce pass. And Pat has a wide open lane to the basket off of this pass. Okay. Look, I mean, I understand Cunningham's there, but like, Pat was able to go up with pretty much like no resistance. I know Cunningham swiped at the ball, but he straight up just missed this. It was also a dunk with two hands, so it wasn't like a one-handed slam where you have less control over the ball. I know that you get more extension with one hand, but this should be a pretty secure dunk. It's not like he's dunking from far away either. Like he jumped from like here. So I don't know, bro. Like when I watch this, I'm just like, what the hell just happened? Like, this is inexcusable to miss. I'm aware everyone's gonna make a mistake every now and then, but the fact that we've seen this now consistently from Pat is really concerning. Now, the reason why it's a major talking point is because if you watch last night's game, Pat missed another wide open dunk in last night's game. So it's now back-to-back nights where Pat missed a wide open dunk, right? And so here's a swipe from from Kate Cunningham. So like, that's the swipe. So I don't know if maybe he really got Pat on the wrist or something and we just didn't see it. But I mean, right here, bro, like this should be a simple two-handed dunk with no resistance. No one's trying to block it. Like, you have a free path to the basket. It honestly just looks like he got a flat tire and he just didn't get as much verticality as he thought he was going to get. And hence we get this, a failed dunk attempt again. So there's that. Now, if you're wondering, like, okay, well, what happened last night? Last night, Zach LaVine made a nice pass to Pat, and he just straight up botched it. Like, it's just mind-boggling to look at, because you're just like, how do you miss these dunks? It's just not okay. I'm assuming it was this missed layup. They count as a missed layup, I guess. But we'll just quickly bring up the video here. Like, this sort of stuff just can't happen with Pat, and I'm running out of ideas to try to figure out what exactly to do. Sorry, I need to do this just to help me see this. Sorry, moving everything over. Sorry, give me 1 second. That's a missed layup. Okay, hold on. Let's try to find this. I thought it was in the first quarter. I guess maybe I'm wrong. I guess I was wrong. Honestly, it was in the second quarter. I remember Pat missed it in the second quarter, and I feel like that's when everything just, like, all the Bulls lost all momentum. After missing that easy open dunk again. Wide open. Just want to repeat that one more time. It was a wide open dunk that Pat just straight up missed, and it honestly felt like that's when the tides kind of all shifted for the Bulls, which I'm still not seeing yet. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Hold on. Did they really count as like a lost Lost ball. There's no shot, right? Sorry, I thought it'd be pretty easy to find this, but I guess it's not. Okay. You know what? Yeah, I guess technically this wasn't even count as a dunk attempt or whatever, because Pat didn't even technically slam it because he lost the ball. So this, if you're wondering then about this stat from Pat for Basketball Reference, I don't even know if this even counted last night's game. Pat came into tonight shooting two for 6 on dunk attempts. Okay, if you're wondering, according to Basketball Reference, I don't even know if last night's counted. So technically, he should have came in 2 for 7, if it didn't count. Excuse me. But here, let's watch this play. So, in my opinion, it's a nice play by the Bulls. Okay, the Bulls have been running a lot of like these little flare screens for kind of anybody, like even Vooch. So like this is kind of like a flare screen by Pat, and Vooch is gonna kind of like fade it back this way. The Bulls have also at times have been willing to like run the double screen here, and Zach will come over. But here instead, Pat decides to set this little flare screen, but he just dives hard. He just dives hard to the basket, and Vooch is moving this way, and so it's a nice set play by the Bulls. I think it's nice. This is wide open again from Pat. Now I do apologize. The video is not great, but like Pat just lost the ball. Like wide open dunk attempt, and Pat just lost the ball. And so I guess this wasn't even counted as a dunk attempt. This was just counted as a turnover for Pat. Like, yeah. So there's that one that a lot of people are talking about, because it's just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, how do you miss this? And then the one, I don't exactly remember which game it was, but then Pat missed a putback dunk where it's just like he mistimed it, but it doesn't even matter that he mistimed it. Like he should have just been able to slam it anyway, and we're just like, what the hell? How did you miss that one? I don't know, bro. This is insane. Pat, again, he came into tonight 2 for 6 on dunk attempts. He's not 2 for 7 in the season, officially. Honestly, should be 2 for 8 after learning that was a turnover instead of an actual dunk attempt against the Rockets last night. It's crazy that we're at this point. But if you're wondering, like, this has been an issue with Pat his entire career. Not only has it been an issue dunking, but just finishing near the basket has been an issue. For what Basketball Reference counts as dunks, he shot 74% last season on dunk attempts. Okay, I want to make that clear one more time. 74% on dunk attempts is not good. You should be easily shooting in the 90s in this sort of situation. I understand Pat did not play a full season really last year, but you should still be shooting better than 74% on dunk attempts. That's insane. Previous year was not better. He shot worse overall. He had more attempts, but played more games. But if you're keeping track of the layup percentage, by the way, it's also not good. It's 48%. That's not good. You need to be better than that. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what it is with Pat. I guess this year, I guess his year that he missed a lot of games. He was 11 for 11 on dunks. That's insane to me. I did not know that. So that's crazy. So I don't know. Maybe he's been in a slump since his third year, I guess. See, this is what we're expecting from Pat. This is his rookie season, and 94% on dunks. That's great. Layups still not good, but 94% on dunks is good. If you're wondering overall for now his career, Pat is 118 for 187 on dunk attempts his entire career. That's insane. He's at 187 dunk attempts. He's only made 118. Like, he should easily be making, like, at bare minimum 175, right? Like, you would think, especially with the dunk attempts that Pat gets, that he should easily be getting into the 170s. Pat doesn't really try to dunk when there's traffic around, so I don't expect any of these to really be where there's like a bunch of traffic. I'm sure there's one here and there, but yeah, this has been really, really bad for Pat. So I don't know what exactly he needs to figure out. Google was laughing at the fact that I said earlier that I think after this game, Pat needs to go into the gym and just straight up practice 100 dunks. It's funny though that I'm saying that. It's funny the fact that I'm saying that a 6'7" forward drafted 4th overall in this league, who just got paid $90 million, who is supposed to have at least some sort of athleticism to his game, has to go into the gym and practice dunks at this current age, at 23 years old. Like, if Pat was like, let's say Pat was 36 and he's starting to, not, he's starting to lose his athleticism, like he's starting to miss some dunks, or he's not jumping as high, he's, kind of getting caught in some weird timings. Like, I can understand that. Like, that's different. I mean, we've seen all of those players have those moments, but Pat's 23. He just got paid. I'm aware that he may have not been in exactly great game condition due to his surgeries, but either way, though, even if you're not 100%, and you're playing, I expect you to make a very simple two-handed dunk at the end of the day. So I'm frustrated that this continues to happen. I'm sorry that we're still talking about it, but here we are again. I just don't understand. This is insane to look at. 118 for 187 is inexcusable. So I don't know. Get in the weight room. I don't know if they need to figure out, like, if they just gotta work on his legs or something. I don't know what the exact solution is for Pat, but it's something to look into for sure. Good on, Rob. Good to see you. I think you let go of the ball too early. Yeah. 76ers seem to like they're digging themselves in a big hole, and I don't see how they're going to manage with no back-to-backs for Embiid and PG. Both should be able to sneak into the play-in at this rate. I think that with the way the Eastern Conference is looking, Noel, I would agree. Just because the entire Eastern Conference looks bad. And if the Bulls are just being, not as bad, then yeah, they'll be in the play-in. The only thing is that the Detroit Pistons, even after losing tonight, they're still ahead of the Bulls. That is one team I did not have ahead of the Bulls. I know that both the Bucks and the 76ers had ahead of the Bulls, so if they ever get back on track, then they can maybe, jump ahead of the Bulls. And the other teams also, like the Hornets and Nets are right behind they're right behind us. So it's not like they're out of it. So it's possible. I do think that it's more possible now, especially looking at how things are working out. But also at the same time, because at the same time as like, oh, the Bucks and 76ers are bad, that means the Bulls have a higher chance of getting in. That also means that there's a higher chance for these other teams like the Hornets and Nets and Pistons to also make it into the play-in tournament too. So overall, I agree, but at the same time, I think you can say the exact same thing about some of the other teams that we thought were going to be bad this year. Pistons, after losing tonight's game, have more wins than the Bulls. So keep that in mind. What you don't take into account is if he's fouled and missed the call, like I would say. I understand that, Rob, but I'd have to really go through and look and see like the stats on people's like dunks, like if how many are actually like contact dunks or how many are just open dunks. But to me, from what I remember from Pat, a lot of what I've seen from Pat for his entire career, he doesn't try to dunk in traffic. Like, if there's really ever traffic there, he doesn't really try to attempt to dunk. So there's less of a chance that a lot of these dunks are actually where he does get fouled. I'm sure that there are some that he's missed and he actually did get fouled on and it just wasn't called. But he's missed way too many still. I mean, again, we're talking 118 for 187. That means that he's already missed 70 plus dunks in his career. Like, I guess not exactly 70, but like still, it's insane. Like, we're talking about 70 missed dunks already. He's had not even a full 4-year career yet. Like, he's had what, a technically 3-year career so far, 227 games. Like, that's insane. That just should not be happening. Because body type have an effect because he grew into his body late. He's trying to get into paint around all the bodies. I mean, I guess maybe it's just not as coordinated, but still, like, I feel like a lot of players are not as coordinated sometimes, and they're still able to dunk. This dunk can definitely get fouled. Yeah, I mean, tonight's dunk, he did not get fouled, and he also did not get fouled against the Rockets, which was not a dunk attempt apparently. So, yeah, he's 2 for 7, but really he's 2 for 8. Need more reps. Need more reps or confidence after the injury wrist at the rim was the only thing I could think of last year why he kept missing. Again, I've seen many NBA players where they're injured or whatever and they can dunk just fine. Like, we're not talking about like a 6'3" guard. Like we're talking about a 6'7" forward who has a decent, pretty good sized wingspan, and is supposed to have good athleticism, but you don't need great athleticism to be able to dunk, right? Could you also bring up some of the other players in comparison to the same amount of games played, how many dunk attempts, also his size? I mean, sure, we can try. Again, it's not easy because I do think that Pat lacks athleticism to some of these other players. Let's just, I always go immediately to Jalen McDaniels just because. Sorry, Jaden, Jaden McDaniels, guy in the Timberwolves. Sorry, I always mix him up. Okay, Jaden McDaniels, 6'9", so I guess 2 inches taller, but he is much lighter. So I guess this is not a good comparison, just really quickly, but a guy though that a lot of people have always looked at in terms of comparisons, and on dunk attempts, he is 7 for 8 this season and 21 to 34 in terms of layups, which is significantly better than Pat. Last year, just real quickly, just to look at it for a full year, he shot 88% on dunk attempts and he shot 62% in layups. Again, not a perfect comparison. I understand it's not 1-to-1 because 2 inches taller, but still though, if you look at the numbers though, if you really want to like talk about like numbers wise, like they're very similar in terms of their career numbers. Like, I mean, look, 9.7, 9.8, 4.2, 3.7, 1.4, 1.4. It's very similar. Very similar stats overall, if you're wondering. So that's the reason why I always go to Jaden McDaniels, just because I think that his numbers are very, very similar to Pat's. But as you can see there, in that sort of instance, as a very similar player, doesn't miss as many dunks. Just straight up just doesn't. So that's one guy. So a guy that has very similar stats, just pointing that out, doesn't miss as many dunks. So that's one guy. Throw me some other guys. I'm trying to think of other examples here. I'm just gonna really put in Devin Vassell. I know again it's not perfect, but just guys that I know were kind of being thrown around as also guys. Also footwork. I mean, yeah. Well, Rob, I'm saying that I don't even think that Pat needs to practice dunking in traffic. I think Pat just needs to practice his dunks. Go into an open gym. Go play by yourself. Just throw it off the wall and just practice dunking alone. Because right now it's very clear that he is not dunking like good alone. Like, forget dunking in traffic at the moment. I need him to make an open dunk. Like, I'm being dead serious. Flat next back-to-back is at home. Oh, that's actually good. Oh, sorry. Okay, you 3 minutes behind. LaMelo's a bucket this season. LaMelo is a bucket this season. Now, the fact that the Hornets are even this good right now is insane because, not this good. Like, the fact that they have 5 wins is crazy to me because they've had so many injuries. Like, it's honestly just LaMelo and, props to the other guys that have shown up this year. Okay, let's just really quickly. So, Devin Vassell, it's not a great comparison in terms of the stats, but like people have kind of compared the two just because of contracts and the Vassell is a 6'5" guy, so he's a little bit shorter, but he's like a little bit bulkier. It's more like the Pat Williams body than Jaden McDaniels, if that makes any sense. Okay, I forgot that so I forgot that he didn't start the season he didn't start the season healthy, so that's not shocking. Okay, so for Devin Vassell on dunks last year, he only attempted 53 dunks last season in I don't know how many games, but a lot more games. He shot 92%. On layups, he shot 60%. Just moving back again, like, okay, this year he shot 81%. Layups, he shot 52%. Not great layup. That's not a great percentage for layups, but it's better. This year, his sophomore season, 85% on dunks, 50% on layups. Like, either way though, we're looking at better numbers than Pat. Like, either way, even if it's less attempts, it's still better numbers in terms of shots at the rim. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other people that I'll just go to Isaac Okoro. If you guys have not already, please hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a lot. I appreciate all the support, you guys. Thank you for everything this season so far. It's been a lot of fun. So if you have not already, hit the like button. Appreciate it, y'all. Okay. This year, so far, for Isaac Okoro, who's not playing as many minutes anymore. But Isaac Okoro is 4 for 5 on dunk attempts and not great shooting and layup attempts, but 4 for 5 on dunk attempts. Last year, he was 20 of 24, so 83% on dunk attempts. He shot 56% in layups. So, again, better than Pat on both. Significantly better in terms of his dunks, right? This is his third year, okay? So this is really the year where Pat kind of went downhill on his dunks. But 86% on dunks, 61% on layups. Like, it's very clear. Like, Isaac Okoro, it might be, honestly, the best comparison we get just due to body type and overall similar stats and role with the team, right? A guy that isn't necessarily going to handle the ball a lot. He's kind of, the 3/4, but he's a little bit smaller. 225, so a little bit heavier build. So not like a Jaden McDaniels, right? I mean, this might honestly be the best comparison we get, and you can even see with Isaac Okoro that he is 2 inches smaller than Patrick Williams in terms of height, and still, he is a significantly better dunker than P. Will. It's just insane. It's insane just to see this. I don't get it. I really do not understand how badly Dorian Finney-Smith. Finney-Smith's a little bit. No, I guess actually that's actually really. I thought he was taller actually. Oh yeah, this will be solid. 4 for 4 on dunks this season. 83% on dunks. Layups not as great, like 53%. Still better than Pat though. Again, Patrick Williams, if you're wondering, on layup attempts from last season. Okay, layup attempts from last season it was 45%. His last really full season though on layup attempts 48%. So it's still better than Pat. Like, I don't understand. 79%. So this is a little bit worse, right? This is more Pat Will right here. This is very Patrick Williams type numbers. 45% on layup attempts and 79% on dunks. Yeah, this is P. Will like. Yeah, interesting. Either way though, it's still better than Pat. Like, it's just so funny to say, but it's still better than Pat. 86%. Like, still better than Pat. Like, we're still significantly better than Patrick Williams right now. 83%. 58% from the layups. Like, it's still better than Pat. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, that was a really good shout out, Noel. For Dorian Finney-Smith. That's a really good call out. Jaylen Brown. No, Paul George is very different from Pat. Very, very different. I'll do Jaylen Brown. Like, he is a little bit shorter in a sense, but I'm gonna guess that he's probably fine. Yeah, I mean, so far the start of the season he's 89%, and on layups he is shooting, I guess, not as good. Last year for Jaylen Brown, 83% on dunks, 59% on layups. Like, still 86% on dunks, 60% on layups. Like, where we can just continue doing this. 80% on dunks, 60% on layups. So still significantly better. Okay, I'm gonna go year 2 Jaylen Brown. Okay, just really quickly, I just want to look at this. So year 2 Jaylen Brown, 85% on dunk attempts and 50% on layups. So the layups obviously weren't as good. The dunk attempts still were not an issue. Was still able to dunk just fine. 90% on dunks, 58% on layups this year. So that's year 3 Jaylen Brown. This is year 4 Jaylen Brown. Dunks 84%, layups 55%. So yeah, still the same. Like, still better. I don't think we really even have to compare any more dunks. There aren't even shots taken. There is no shot. There is no shot you're supposed to make. Oh, I agree. Yeah, I straight up agree. It's just it's the fact that Pat's missing them that we're just like, we're here talking and we're like, what the hell is happening? Like, this shouldn't be happening. It's a dunk, especially Pat's dunks. Like they're not hard. Yeah, it's so mind-boggling, bro. It's supposed to be a thing you're laughed at as a basketball player, like an anomaly. Yeah. Pat just says he yips at the rim, but I prefer to keep going for it rather than retreat back into a shell. I mean, I agree, AV Breeze, but like I don't know if that's gonna like I completely agree because like overall I want to see Pat whether it's him trying to actually dunk the ball or just trying to make a layup attempt. Like I think it's good just for him to attack the rim, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna help him like overall. More reps experience, didn't play much for Florida State, but even that being said, a lot of other players who do not play a lot in college, who came off the bench in college, had less minutes than him, also can dunk the ball very easily, especially with nobody there. We're doing P-Will comparisons. We're doing P-Will comparisons to and looking at their dunk percentage and layup percentage, because P-Will missed a wide open dunk tonight, just as he did against the Houston Rockets, but that one against the Rockets was considered a turnover, but it was still missed a wide open dunk. Harrison Barnes. After Harrison Barnes, I'll go to OG Anunoby after him. Yeah, so this is last year with Harrison Barnes. 84% on dunks, 59% on layups. He is 1 inch taller, I will say that. This year he's 5 for 5 on dunks. He's 50% on layups, so still better than Pat. This year 95% on dunk attempts, 53% from layup for layups. Like, yeah, it doesn't get any better. 89%. And Harrison Barnes doesn't dunk a lot. Like you can very clearly tell he doesn't dunk a lot in these years. So I'll go to young Harrison Barnes, and we'll go to year 2 Harrison Barnes. Okay, 97% on dunks. Like, I mean, layups. This is very Pat-like with the layups, but still 97% on dunks. %on dunks. This is when Harrison Barnes is dunking a lot more because he's got the athleticism. But yeah, 54% on layups, still better than Pat. Year 4 Harrison Barnes. Okay, 91% on dunks. 46% from layups. This is Pat-like. The layups, this is very Pat-like. But the dunk attempts are still fine. If you're wide open and you're getting dunks, you're gonna be fine. I'm not dunk attempts because I was trying to figure out if he's getting more attempts than guys his size or similar. It's pretty similar, right? Like it is pretty similar. No, but Rob, I don't care about if there's a center in the lane or not. A lot of these Patrick Williams dunks are missed wide open dunks. They're wide open. We're talking wide open dunks here. I'm not talking about the contact stuff again. Like we're talking about wide open dunks here. We're not talking about oh there's a center in the paint or whatever. Like I agree that if Rudy Gobert's in the middle of the paint, like it's hard to dunk on him. But we're just looking at this just because we know that Pat's dunks overall have mostly been wide open. If you steal a young player for the Pistons, who would you prefer, Ivy, Holland, or Duran? Oh, that's a really good question. I like all 3 of their games. Who I think has the most promise or who has the most potential. I think Ron Holland has the most potential out of all 3. But he's obviously the least proven right now. They're all very young still, so that's a really tough one. I'll go with Ivy because I really like him a lot. But honestly, Ivy might have the worst potential out of all 3 of them. But I'd go with Ivy. Cal Bridges. Sorry, my keyboard messed up there due to that notification. All right, Mikal Bridges, who never misses a game. So this year, to start off this year, he has 5 of 6 on dunk attempts and 52% on layups. 100% Uh, dunk attempts from last year, he only attempted 21, but he made 20. 54% on layups. Again, doesn't miss games, so this is good guy to look at. 40 attempts the previous season, 87% on dunks, 57% on layups. Like, still better than Pat. Mikal Bridges is an inch shorter than Pat. 90. So this, I mean, look, this year is a hell of a good year to look at, because it's like, okay, 70 dunk attempts. So this is like a significant amount of dunk attempts, and he's not like cherry picking at all. And he very clearly made a lot of those dunk attempts. 66% or 66 made, 96% overall from dunks, and 67% on layups. So yeah, honestly, bro, it might honestly with Pat, it might legitimately be like an athleticism issue or something. Like, I don't know exactly, but yeah, it might honestly be like a physical tool issue that we're looking at here. We asked him to be more aggressive, but he's missing dunks. I understand the need to get angry because I do when he misses, but at least he's attempting at some point. Maybe I'll get more close. I agree though, Rob. Like, I'm not saying he should stop attempting these dunks. I think he should keep attempting, but what's gonna fix it? Like, what we gotta figure this out. So yeah, I don't know. Patrick almost dunked on. Hi, Matt Aberflus again. I know that's not you, but great call at the end of the Sunday game. Great job, Matt Eberflus. No, Rob, you're right. Like, I understand that one of those missed dunk attempts was he jumped up too early on a offensive rebound. I understand that, but even that being said, like, even on that play, I still think he should have made that dunk, even though he jumped too early. Like, I understand that he jumped too early and his timing's weird, but he still had his head was still above the rim, I think, when he still tried to, like, or no, I guess maybe not his head, but like, he was able to get the ball still. So I still think that he should have been able to finish that one. His jumping seems like he's always sets off in non-dominant foot. I mean, yeah, like, we've talked about it. Again, just repeat. Like, whenever you see him jump off 1 foot, it's worse than 2 feet. But it honestly seems like he doesn't seem to measure his steps right. And he's not jumping off the correct foot. I'm gonna bring up what the I'm bringing up the video again tonight or the recording for tonight's game again. Yeah, it's just so mind-boggling, bro. I don't want this to be like a legitimate, like, storyline throughout the year, but, like, we're getting to the point. Because he's already a bad dunker, and yet we're here talking about how much worse he's been so far at dunking the basketball this year. And it's already, like, he's already bad, and somehow he got worse. Like, I don't understand. It's so confusing to me. So, again, once again, just to watch this. This also, by the way, this was off 2 feet tonight. So I don't want to be like, I don't want to say like this one was like, oh, you jumped off the wrong foot. Like, this is off 2 feet tonight. He just straight up missed it. Like, yeah, I was lazy. I also think this was just lazy. He's ambidextrous. He could have trouble deciding which leg to jump off of, which arm to dunk with. Well, Rob, I understand that, but no matter what, even if you're ambidextrous, like, you could still at least get the verticality you need, and Pat's not getting it sometimes. Like, I don't care whichever one. Yeah, I'm aware he had foot soreness, but again, he's on the floor. Like, bro, like, we've seen many athletes where they have foot soreness, and they still can dunk a wide open dunk. We're not asking for anything special here. We're asking for a wide open dunk to go down. Is that bad for me to ask, even if you have a sore foot? Like, I don't think that should be too much to ask for. You're out there guarding Kate Cunningham for like 36 minutes tonight. Am I asking for too much for you to make a wide open 2-footed dunk? Like, you're not jumping from like you're not jumping from the free throw line. You're jumping from the restricted circle here. My coach said must suck. D-Rose can land. Nobody cared to teach him. People can't jump and he can't jump, but he doesn't know how to jump. Yeah. Rob, I'm willing to bet you money right now. Like, I don't know how exactly we would be able to get the stats, but I'm willing to bet you money that more than half of people's dunk attempts are him wide open, like wide open dunk attempts. I'm willing to bet you money. Because again, Pat usually does not try to dunk if there's a guy there. So I'm saying that, like, I don't think, like, you keep saying that you think that there are defenders there, but I'm saying to you, Pat doesn't usually try to dunk when there are defenders there. So to me, I'm in my head, I'm like, no, I think that he actually is actually missing these dunks, most of them when they're wide open. Like, I don't think Pat tries to dunk when there is a guy there most of the time. Like, yeah, again, there's gonna be some here and there, but I'm willing to bet money. Like, I honestly think that he's missing a lot of these just by himself. I don't exactly know how I get that stat. I know that like NBA.com has some stuff like that, but like it'd be like it's very very specific. I'm really quickly trying to look at if I can pull up something that would work. But either way, though, again, like the fact that, again, one more time, after tonight's game, Patrick Williams on dunk attempts in his career is 118 for 187. That's insane. I don't care if you're trying to dunk in traffic or not. The fact that you're 118 for 187 is ridiculous. That cannot happen. Okay, so like here's like, this is what NBA.com can give us. Like it's very hard. Like it's very, like, there's nothing that's gonna tell you like, oh hey, yeah, this was contested or uncontested or not. So I'll have to dig deeper, and see if I can find like a reliable source. I mean, yeah, honestly, it might just come down to like we just have to watch the film. I made the joke earlier that if this continues to the point where we're like, what the hell is happening with Pat, in terms of like his dunks just he keeps continuing to miss dunks here, I'm honestly thinking of like, I'm gonna, like, cause I record all these games, so I'm honestly thinking of like making a compilation video of like, okay, January is like the midway point in the season, so we're gonna just come January, I'm gonna have a video that's just gonna be, here's every single Patrick Williams dunk attempt through the season so far, and let's just see how it goes. Like, let's just watch, and then I want to do it for the end of the season as well. It might honestly just be interesting just to look at, and maybe it'll help him. Maybe he'll see it or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm just freaking out about this because, yeah, it's ridiculous that he's missed already 5 dunks on the season, one of which he honestly should be 2 for 8, but one didn't count. So, yeah, not ideal. He's 1 for 3 on cutting dunks this season. He is on dunk shots. He is 0 for 2. What? Like, how is that possible? 0 for 0 on driving dunks this year. So that's cool. And then a driving reverse dunk shot. He's 0 for 1. All right, awesome. Cool. Thunder's dunks. Yeah, I mean, Darius, you're completely right. I've talked about Pat's layups. Like, according to Basketball Reference, he's been, like, his layups have been atrocious his entire career. We went and compared it to everyone else that's similar to him. Like, he's just worse than everybody. You can even go to NBA.com and just look through his layups overall. He misses too many. So last year, I know he missed time last year, but I mean, he shot 53% from less than 5 feet, which is already bad itself. 47% for less than 8 feet, which is not great. Restricted area 55%, and again, not good. Again, so this is on dunks last year, so this is also what Basketball Reference had. But on layups, on what NBA.com considers a layup, he shot 44%. Again, not good. Yeah, layup shot 3 for 5, I guess, but whatever. So that's obviously like a half season there. But his last full season, right? Like it's not exactly amazing. Like this is better. This is also a little bit better. This is better, right? Layups though, still not good. This is very poor. Even while I'm saying that this is better, this needs to be higher. Like stuff like this still needs to be higher for Pat. Unfortunately for him, he's been so heavily reliant on his 3-point shot for him to score, and his mid-range, right? And the Bulls are getting away from the mid-range, and his 3-point shot it's still kind of hit and miss right now. He's shooting a pretty decent percentage, but I need to see more attempts. The fact that he came into close to averaging 5 attempts per game is good, but I would like to see more. Keep shooting. I don't, Rob. I just disagree that if we're gonna say that he's still raw, then why does he have a $90 million contract right now? Like, to me, he's not raw. I understand that he's missed time, so if you want to say this is his 4th season, sure, but I'm not going to tell you that this is his 3rd season. So to me, it's not necessarily raw. Like, you got paid $90 million. Watching Chippy's dunks for dunk positivity. Yeah, Julian Phillips, like, he is the epitome of what I want Pat to do. I understand that Phillips is obviously, like, his athleticism is off the charts. His verticality is insane, but still, though, yeah, it's same position. You see him being robust and you expect him to be able to absorb contract, but minor contact destroys him. It's like he's made out of marshmallows. That's honestly a really good analogy. Box. Yeah, he's big, so you think that he can absorb it all, but yeah, he's marshmallows instead. He folds immediately. Yeah, it is actually just insane. Got a lot of offensive fouls in the past. I know that he has done that, but it's not like Giannis level, so it's really not too big of an issue. He needs to just be better. So, okay, sorry about that. That was like a 30-minute rant about P. Will and his inability to dunk consistently. One more time, just 2 for 7 for the season. Really should be 2 for 8, but 1 was a turnover, but I'm not going to say that. So 2 for 7, 118 for 187 for his career. Like, you've got to be kidding me, bro. That's just unacceptable. So, yeah, we'll just keep this in mind moving forward. So I'm hoping that, I don't know, bro. Figure it out. Peter Patton's a shooting coach, but I don't know if he's a dunk coach. So figure it out. Somebody's learning his body still, but I just think, Rob, we're at the point now, because this is his 5th season. Like, I know that, again, he has not played as many games, but because this is technically his 5th season and he's got a new contract, I don't look at it as, hey, this is him learning his body still. I think he should be pretty well acclimated to his body at this point. It's just that he's either, like you said, he's either fatigued, he is not 100%, or he just does not have consistent verticality and there's something seriously wrong with his mechanics. He really should be fine. But yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying with Box. Like, if you're telling me that right now that he isn't acclimated to his body, then when the hell is he gonna get it? Like, when he's 29, like at that point you're at the middle of your prime. Like, that's supposed to be your best years. You can't just get acclimated to your body then. Like, you should be acclimated to your body now. I understand he's had injuries. I get it, but there are many other players that have had early injuries in their career, and they're perfectly acclimated to their body, and they missed a lot of games. So like I can't just be like, yeah, this is the excuse for P Will only. Like that just doesn't fly. So maybe it is true what you're saying, Rob, but it's not something that we usually hear. Like a lot of guys have kind of figured this out at this point, even if they miss games. All right. I do want to pull up. I'm gonna pull up one play that I wanted to really show on stream tonight. Because I really trashed on Giddey in the previous stream. After the Cavs game, and so I know that we've been talking about people a lot on the stream, but yeah, I think Giddey overall, he had a solid game. Not anything spectacular, but solid, and I appreciate just the fact that he was solid. But the reason why I say that he was solid was mostly because that he was giving the effort defensively that I needed to see. I'm not asking for Giddey to be anything spectacular. I'm not asking him to be a gifted defender. I'm not asking him to do anything spectacular defensively. I'm not asking this team to be good defensively. What I'm asking, though, is that this team gives at least some sort of effort defensively. And I think that Giddey showed tonight that he gave effort. Not saying he did well defensively. I'm just saying he gave effort. And that's all I'm asking for, honestly. Again, this team is not supposed to be good defensively. The bar is down here in terms of what you should expect defensively from each player. I just expect effort. That's all I'm asking for. I need effort from Giddey. So I want to just show you the play where he got the dunk, which was obviously, like, it was a really cool play to see. But I just want to show you really quickly why I appreciated it a lot more than, and more so what he did on the other end instead of the dunk itself. This is exactly what we need to see from Giddey moving forward. Again, I'm not asking for anything special in terms of defensive capabilities. I'm not asking for him to get, average like a lot of steals per game. I'm asking him just to be a solid, or just give solid effort. I'm sorry, I can't find the exact. It was a lot earlier in the quarter than I thought it was. There. So here is the possession for the Bulls defensively. Okay, so if you're paying attention, Pat was on. I keep wanting to call Cade Cunningham Caleb Williams because the Bears, but sorry. Pat was on Cade Cunningham all night. I think Pat, even though I've been hating on his dunks all stream, I think he was pretty solid defensively on Cade Cunningham tonight. Nothing like it wasn't like Caruso, but like it was just solid defense. So I give him credit for that. But Giddey is obviously he's not, so they're gonna try to get the switch to have Giddey guarding Cade Cunningham, and they get the switch pretty quickly. So Tim Hardaway Jr. sets the screen, and so now Josh is on Cade Cunningham. So this is just what I'm asking for from Josh. Like, he's not gonna be a guy that's gonna break up this pick and roll easily. He's not gonna be a guy that's gonna be able to get over the screen easily. But I just ask that he tries. I just ask that you just try to just give me this effort, because very clearly in Cleveland, Josh did not try in Cleveland, hence fouls, hence he got pulled. But he tried tonight, and I just appreciate that. So on this play here, he gets screened, right? Fight through it, try to recover, get back to him, okay? Now he's back on him, right? Cade then decides to drive. Josh gets him back in front of him again, which is really solid here. And then Cade does the extra third, spin move, which, that got Giddey, but it, Giddey kind of forced him into Vooch, and Vooch got the block on this. So, again, like, Josh got beat on this play. I'm not saying that Josh is not going to get beat. I'm not saying that Josh is going to, stay in front of his man consistently. I'm just saying, hey, let's just try to give some effort. And to me, in my opinion, he at least gave some effort on that play. And that effort then ended up being rewarded. So Bulls got the block. Giddey's out on the fast break. Nice behind the back move to get the dunk. Good two-way sequence from Josh Giddey. So I'm just asking for this. I think this is the sort of thing with him where I'm like, again, I'm not nothing needs to come up in the box score or anything specific. I just need to just kind of see this. It's going to be a lot of the eye test with Josh, unfortunately, on the defensive end. He just needs to get the effort. He just straight up just needs to be giving that sort of effort. This is obviously an on-ball specific possession, so that's one thing. But then he also needs to be well aware then defensively off-ball. He needs to be given that effort tonight or every night as well. I'm going to show you a play here actually where I'm trying to exactly remember it. I'm trying to hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna try to bring it up if I can. But there was a play where Giddey missed being the weak side help, pretty much. It might have been the second quarter, actually. Hold on, really quickly. I'm just gonna scroll through this as fast as I can. Was it first quarter? Maybe it was that. All right, it was actually okay. Cool. So let's watch this. So, you know, I'm not always trying to pick on Giddey in this sort of thing here, but for this specific instance, I'm gonna have to pay attention to him. So, this isn't fully on Giddey because the Bulls need to communicate better defensively. But typically, what you've been seeing from the Bulls a lot is that this guy is then like the weak side rotator to come over and like come into the paint here. It's definitely not Julian Phillips. Julian Phillips is really not the guy that is typically where he's currently standing is like, oh, I'm gonna be the rotator. Bulls decided to trap this pick and roll, and so that left Isaiah Stewart pretty much all by his lonesome. And so a nice pass here, but I think that's Ron Holland. No, that is Ivy, or I don't even know. But either way, though, you see here that the Bulls clearly messed up here. So I like this trap. I think it's a good trap. Just kind of throw a different defensive set, but someone needs to rotate over. And in my opinion, this should be Josh Giddey. And if Giddey moves over, then Io can be the guy that can rotate to wherever the ball goes. He rotates to that guy, and then Giddey can come back out to whoever is the other guy. Ideally, though, you want to make sure that this guy, or sorry, if ideally you would like Giddey to run back out to the corner if possible, because that is the shortest amount of distance, right? So, in my opinion, the rotation should be, it's not definitely not Phillips, because that's not, the Bulls never do that. But Giddey should be here. Giddey needs to be in the middle of the paint here for this Stewart, basically roll. And then IL covers up whichever way the ball goes, and then if the ball is passed out, then Giddey covers up the other guy. But very clearly, as you see this, Giddey's pointing like, hey, cover up, and he just looks at Io as like, hey, what the hell happened? So maybe Io was supposed to take this, but for what I've seen from the Bulls defensively this year, it's not Io's man, it is Giddey's man who's supposed to take that. So, or Giddey's supposed to take that. So, either way, though, the Bulls' defensive communication wasn't great on this possession, but I do think it was better tonight overall. That needs to continue. I'm not asking for anything special. I'm just, if you switch, then switch. Or if you call switch, you switch. Just have the simple defensive protocols down, and I'll be fine. I'm not asking for you to stop guys. I'm not asking you to be the Thunder with how good they are defensively. I'm just asking you just to stick to your protocols, and stick to them, and try to give me some effort. And I think the Bulls overall, obviously not in this play, but overall they did a really solid job of that tonight. So I want to show you that those plays really quickly. One more time, I just want to say thank you guys for checking in on the stream tonight. If you have not already, please hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a lot. We've already had 60 people checking out the stream tonight, so I truly do appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for coming into the stream. It's been a lot of fun this year. I've had a lot of fun streaming after games this year, so I'm hoping to continue that. Thank you guys for making it a lot of fun. Honestly, all the credit goes to you guys for being a fun community. So thank you guys a lot. Please hit the like button if you've not already. Helps me out a ton. Basically, it needs to be a good team defender. Yeah, basically, Darius. Yeah, you're pretty much right on the spot. But so yeah, the Giddey situation overall this year, like the Cleveland game was really shocking to me because I did not expect Giddey to get pulled in the second half or the start of the second half. I made a prediction this season that no matter what happened with Giddey, whether he played good or bad, or how badly he ever played, I said that he would start every single game. I thought that the front office would basically force Billy Donovan to start him every single game just to kind of get a good look at him before they have to pay him or make a decision about paying him. And the fact that Billy benched Giddey at the start of the second half against Cleveland was shocking to me. That was shocking as hell to me because I did not expect Billy to do that. And it kind of opened up my eyes. I was just like, oh my God, like, okay, is Giddey going to start against the Houston Rockets? He did. And now obviously he started tonight again as well. So it's with Giddey, it's going to be interesting to look at because we're going to really quickly just move over to this here. The stats right now for Giddey are not exactly in his favor. He came into this year, just to again recap, like he came into this year hoping that he would be like the main ball handler, main decision maker, run the offense, be the engine to the car, right? Etc. So he came in thinking, oh, I'm going to come here, and ideally, because he wanted to, is what he told Sam Presti, I want to go to a spot where I have more control of the offense, the ball in my hands more, etc. And right now, obviously, if you've been paying attention, that has not been the case whatsoever. The Bulls honestly have been they've kind of taken the ball out of his hands a lot. They're kind of asking him to just be this sort of off-ball player, and he'll bring it up sometimes, run transition, etc. I think that's fine. I'm not here to like. I think that's completely fine because I don't think that Giddey has done well enough to warrant like, yeah, he deserved the ball even if you're struggling or whatever. His scoring is too inconsistent, unfortunately. So that's something I just want to point out. I forget. Sorry, I have to go into players. That's why. Sorry, 1 second. But basically, what I'm pulling up here for you guys is we're gonna be going to kind of like the usage, stuff here, and it's not perfect at the end of the day. Like I understand it's not. This stuff isn't perfect for like seeing like who has the ball the most, but I do think it's a good look at to kind of see like who is really kind of being like the main ball handlers on a team. Okay, who has the ball the most. And so right now, again, usage percentage, again, it's not perfect. Okay, but right now, for example, let's just talk about usage percentage. So Zach LaVine this season, coming into tonight's game, this does not count tonight's game, but Zach, he's clearly taking less field goal attempts than he would take in previous years, right? He's shooting only 15 per game, still averaging 21 points per game, which is great. But if you look at kind of like some of the advanced stuff, you can kind of like look at like usage stuff. And so, for example, when he was a two-time All-Star, his usage percentage was 31%, 28.8%, 31.7%. Like, I mean, a lot higher, right? And it's not one-to-one of like, oh, if the usage is like the more you dribble, the more usage. It's not perfect, but it does kind of give like a good glimpse. So this year, though, if you look at the usage percentage across the board for the Bulls, it's pretty spread out well. LaVine and Kobe are the two main guys. But you can even see with LaVine's, right? Like LaVine's usage percentage is significantly lower than usual. We usually see Zach, no matter what, at least at 28%, typically in the 30s. This year, as you can see, Zach's at 24% usage percentage. So that is that's a low for Zach. That's really low. But he's done pretty well in this role, right? Kobe's the next. He's been very clearly like the next, kind of ball player, or the next ball handler, I should say, for them. Honestly, you could argue that Kobe's been the main ball handler, but Zach's been, does more of the scoring. Now, if you looked at this stat like 2 weeks ago, Levine, Kobe, and Giddey pretty much had the same usage percent. It was very similar. As you can see, though, is for Giddey is taking a drop, where he is now 2.5 points behind, or 2.5% behind Levine, and he's a percent plus behind Kobe. So I'm just pointing this out just because it's just kind of like a good representation of hey, I think the Bulls have kind of shown, and I think if you just watch the games, Giddey's just not being used as much anymore in terms of on-ball effectiveness. So what Giddey did tonight, in my opinion, is better. It's not perfect. It's a solid game overall. But what he did tonight in terms of being more off-ball and how he can still be effective, even though he's not handling the ball, he's not running the plays, or initiating all the plays, I should say. He still, though, was more effective than what we've seen before, where he doesn't get the ball as much. Where he is trying to get more rebounds on both ends of the floor. But on offense specifically, he is really trying to get those offensive rebounds, which is good. He also was setting screens tonight more often than we typically see, which is also good from Giddey. The three-point shot's going to be the big thing with him. If he's going to be playing more off-ball, he just has to hit it. And I'm hoping that he'll figure out defensively that he needs to just get the effort. The assist tonight, everyone's going to be talking about the assist tonight. It wasn't anything spectacular assists. A lot of these assists were just kind of here, Vooch. One assist is literally Giddey just dribbling down, kind of slowing down, and then he just goes here, Vooch, and Vooch shoots a three and makes it. That's an assist, but it's not anything special. I do still appreciate his vision and his good passing. I do appreciate that skill, but it's not anything that I'm going to be going nuts over here. So he did a good job, obviously, finding guys tonight, but he also had four turnovers and some interesting decisions in transition. So, yeah, I just hope that moving forward that he can kind of accept this and try to figure out still a way to be effective, because right now, very clearly, the Bulls are just better when he's not with the ball. They're just straight up. That's just how if you guys are wondering how badly it is right now in terms of when Giddey is on the court versus off the court, I'm just gonna go ahead and very quickly just show you this article that was written by Steph No. This is obviously before tonight's game, so I think you can say hey, he had a pretty good game tonight. And yeah, I think Giddey had a pretty okay game tonight. But here is this, okay? This is the stats with Josh Giddey, okay? And I understand that everyone's gonna, everyone has their opinions on him, and again, I try to just be neutral and just be hey, if he's bad, he's bad. If he's playing well, he's playing well. I know a lot of people are, are on one side of the spectrum or the other when it comes to Giddey, but here's the reality of the situation right now, okay? So first and foremost, when it comes to being blocked at the rim, Giddey is not doing well in terms of finishing at the rim. I mean, he is one of the most blocked guards in the league, according to Steph No. He is ranked 263rd out of 282 qualified players in terms of finishing at the basket within 3 feet, which is at 48%, which is that's bad. I mean, we can all just agree. This was bad. This is very bad to be shooting 48% within 3 feet. Okay. His effective field goal percentage is 47.4%. That is the 27th percentile, which is awful. I think that's overall, that makes a lot of sense. His plus minus, which I know is not perfect, okay, but right now his plus minus is 465th out of 471 NBA players this season, and the Bulls are being outscored by 111 points in 338 minutes, which is ridiculously bad if you're wondering, okay, which is basically his defense, the Bulls' defensive efficiency when he's on the floor, okay. Pretty much though, if you've been wondering, okay, when Giddey is on the floor, the Bulls so far this season, okay, have been just one of the worst teams in the world. They are honestly horrifically bad. But for some reason, then when Giddey's off the floor, the net rating is so drastically different at this moment in time that the Bulls basically become a 500 team when Giddey's off the floor. That's how badly it's been so far for Giddey to start the season. Now, I understand that there's some of this where it's like this isn't fully fair. I agree that plus minus isn't really perfect. Like they're, for example, like Vucevic tonight, if you want to, I guess, I don't know. I won't use that comparison, honestly, because Vucevic had a really good game tonight. But pretty much though, like let's say if Zach is going off, right? Let's say Zach goes off for his, 7 threes, right? If you're just on the floor and you're not really doing anything, but you're on the floor and he's putting up all these threes, your plus minus goes up because I'm gonna assume that if Zach hits 7 threes in a quarter, they either cut into a lead, got the lead, or extended the lead. So basically, though, they've scored more points while you've been on the floor than the other team, right? You probably had nothing to do with it if Zach is just going off, but hey, your plus minus went up. So I understand that plus minus it's not perfect. I understand that it's not perfect, but so far this season, it is like the fact that I can't ignore a negative 12.1 net rating, and then when he's off the floor, the Bulls are basically 500. Like that's insane. Just to look at. And I think Donovan was kind of, well aware of this, where the way that Giddey was playing some of these games, like I understand some people are talking like, well, I mean the box score says this, but I'm like, the thing with Giddey is that the box score can't really tell you the whole story. He's going to get rebounds and assists. I guarantee you, no matter what, if Giddey's going to be playing 30 minutes a night, he will get rebounds and assists. I will guarantee you that. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything, really, in terms of impact. Yeah, it's nice, but the Bulls had 21 assists in that first half. Not all of them were Giddey's, so here we go. I just want to make sure that we're clear about this. So, yeah, his net rating being negative 12.1, like, I want you to understand, that is ridiculously bad. That's something that cannot be ignored. That very clearly shows you that at least you yourself, no matter what lineup you've been in, you've been basically a net negative. And significantly a net negative. Like, if it was kind of like a net negative, like, okay. But that means that basically every single lineup that Josh Giddey has been in, no matter what lineup it is, whether it's with the starters or with the bench players or specific different guys, with Jalen Smith or with Vucevic, he has been a net negative. He is, no matter what, it's been a net negative for Josh Giddey significantly. So, with that being said, it's on him. A lot of this is on him. I think defensively was obviously the biggest thing, and so him being better defensively tonight was a good step in the right direction. But now it's about, okay, can you accept your role now of being that you're not going to be really leading the offense anymore? You're not going to have the ball in your hands as much anymore. Can you accept that and still bring the level of intensity that we're looking for every single night on both ends of the floor? Not asking you to score 20. I'm not asking you to hit every 3-point shot. I'm just asking you to give the effort defensively that is necessary and find ways to be impactful on offense that does not involve you having the ball constantly. That's going to be interesting to watch all year long. I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. I'm interested just to see how he'll attack this sort of obstacle ahead of him here. But this has been really rough start for Giddey to start the season. I have thought about him on the bench. I don't think necessarily we need to go to there yet. I still give like the 27 or the 25 game mark, give like, hey, no major changes till then. But just to point out where it's just like, a lot of people have come into this chat accusing me like, hey, I'm a Giddey hater. I'm not looking at how Giddey impacts the game or whatever. Just to point this out, okay. First and foremost, I do video breakdowns on this channel, okay. So I record every game, I watch every game, I break down almost every single game, okay. So you can't come in here and tell me, hey, you're not watching the game, okay. But other than that, if you're gonna say like, well, look at his box score numbers, then I'm like, okay, I've said this before. His box score numbers don't really tell the whole story. These numbers here, though, really do show that he is not that impactful as people really think. Overall, in general, he is not as impactful as people really think. So, with that being said, I want to make it clear that, like, I'm not here just being a straight Giddey hater. There are very clearly stats that are backing up what I'm saying where he has played poorly. I understand that there are going to be people that are going to disagree with these stats, but these stats do tell a lot. They're not perfect, but when you're pretty much at the bottom of a lot of these stats, it's a bad sign. So please, I'm not just like drawing things out of my ass to be, I don't like Josh Giddey with this or whatever. I want Josh Giddey to succeed very badly because I think the Bulls are going to be in hell if he doesn't. But right now, it's not looking like a good step in the right, or not, it's not a good start for Josh Giddey's Bulls career, which who knows, honestly, if Giddey continues to play like this, I don't know if he's going to be here next year. So I really hope that this isn't going to continue, but this is the reason why Sam Presti kind of was like, yeah, I'm willing to move on from him. And I worry that AK kind of fell for the trap, hook, line, and sinker. So yeah. So again, tonight was better from Giddey. He has to find ways to be effective with the ball in his hands less, be a better rebounder, get better effort defensively, set good screens, right? But also, just like for a lot of roles in sports, you're not going to excel at any sort of role until you accept your role. And right now, for Giddey, the biggest challenge for him is, can you accept the fact that, yeah, you're still probably going to be starting a lot of games, but can you accept the fact that you're not going to be closing games? Can you accept the fact that Kobe White and Zach LaVine, I would assume, are going to be handling the ball more than you? Can you accept the fact that you asked for a spot where you're going to be able to handle the ball a lot more, but right now your coach doesn't trust you right with that at the moment? Can you accept that? And can you accept being that sort of off-ball player that can find ways to impact the game, even though that wasn't what your expectation was coming into the year? It all starts there. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I don't know if he has the necessary skills to be an effective off-ball player, but if he can find ways to rebound effectively, then that's a start in the right direction. And obviously his passing is still, valuable at the end of the day. So I still think they look better when Giddey had the ball a bit more. Honestly, off-ball movement was better early, and lots of help with that too. AV Breeze, unfortunately, it's just that's like, you may think that AV Breeze, but literally every stat says that is literally false. If you're just to really show you that, like, if you think specifically that's the case, okay, that's your eye test and you have the right to your opinion. But if you're wondering specifically what the numbers are when Giddey is on the floor versus when he's off the floor, it is a very drastic difference. And it's almost so drastic that you're just like, how the hell is this possible? But this is how it is. So if you're wondering, like, okay, do the Bulls do anything better offensively when Giddey's on the floor? Okay, 3-point rate without Giddey, it's better. Defensive efficiency, I think it's very obvious that their defensive efficiency is just gonna be better. But in terms of the biggest thing that I think people always look at, which is probably gonna be the shot quality for the players when Giddey's on the floor, the Bulls are actually getting better shot quality when Giddey's off the floor. Okay, like that I think is the biggest indicator that he is not being effective, is that the shot quality when he's off the floor is better when he's on the floor than when he's on the floor, right? So the one thing that people are always saying, that Giddey's gonna get guys open, he's gonna make sure guys get the open shots that they need, he's gonna distribute the basketball, he's gonna help create open shots for guys. The problem is that you're seeing that the numbers say that the shot quality is better when he's off the floor. So no matter what you tell me, that he is not, helping guys get more open or helping the ball movement or whatever, he's not doing that. It straight up has been false. He's been a detriment to the team when that's been the case. And then the last but not least, the biggest thing I thought that he could help with this team is that I thought maybe that he could come in and be an effective player in terms of pace and bring a different element in terms of the open court game. I think Giddey is a little bit different from Lonzo, where Lonzo is fantastic in the open court, but Lonzo is one of the best passers in the open court, and he just tends to just throw the ball ahead just to throw the ball ahead, just to get it ahead, right? And that's great from Lonzo. I think Lonzo has kind of shown that he is one of the best players in transition in the game when he's healthy. I thought with Giddey, though, that while he could do what Lonzo could do, which is like throw the ball ahead, I thought he could bring that extra element of like really being able to control the pace well. And like, if we're gonna like full out run, and then I can take it myself, or we can like do like a semi-transition break. And that hasn't been the case either. Without Giddey, the Bulls have been faster. The Bulls have had better pace without Giddey than they have with Giddey on the floor. So like, I understand what you're saying, AV Breeze. Like, you would, like, in your eyesight and like when you watch game, you think that the ball's better, like the ball movement's better, the offense is better. Unfortunately, it's not been the case. And I don't really know what else to tell you. Sometimes they get so unselfish, they get stagnant, and they're passing to avoid taking the shot rather than actually generate a better one. Don't you think that Giddey kind of falls under that category, though, of where he doesn't take the shot that he should, and then he's trying to set up someone else for a better shot? Like, he, in my opinion, is the biggest culprit of what exactly you just said right there. So, I know it's tough. Is Giddey helping Zach, Vooch, and Kobe be more efficient on offense? Easier, more... No, like, again, like, Rob, everything I'm telling you right now, it's literally... No, he's not. Like, the stats literally say that the three guys that you're talking about, Levine, Vooch, and Kobe, they're all playing better when he's off the floor. All of them. Giddey's a 6'8" round without the speed, athleticism, and also not the defensive capability, right? Rondo was one hell of a defender in his prime. You know, he was only 6'1", but he had the long wingspan. My point is more that they are playing differently with / around Giddey now than a couple weeks ago. I'm not comparing on / off, but rather on before versus on after, if that makes sense. I don't know exactly. Are you trying to say that Giddey in the first 5 games on versus Giddey in the next, or the last 10 games on? Is that what you're saying? Faces where as Giddey dribbles up the line faster than all, excluding IO on possession, so must slow down after. What do you mean dribbles up the line? What do you mean by that? Get past half court? So remember, I pace is weird, right? But pace, a lot of the times with pace, it's how fast you take a shot and the shot clock. Like, it's not necessarily like how fast these guys are running or how fast the ball is moving up and down the floor. It's, you know, how fast you take a shot in the shot clock. And the Bulls have been hyper emphasizing, like, we need to take, you know, it's okay to take shots early in the shot clock. With Giddey, it's been slower, right? Also, Charles, I would have to disagree with you because I think Kobe is faster than Giddey in terms of bringing the ball past half court. I think he's one of the quickest on the team. After that, I think you could maybe say it's Giddey, but I think it's Kobe and Io have been just faster, just in general, just bringing the ball past half court. So, I mean, that's just my eye test. So, you know, you can take that with a grain of salt. But I think that those two guys have been very clearly been better with pace, hence what the stats have said. So, again, if you're wondering, again, if this is just like me pulling stats out of the air, no, this is not. This is literally, Steph Noah is one of the best writers in the NBA. Like, he has been one of the best writers ever. So if you have an issue with some of these stats, go talk to him specifically. He will answer on Twitter, by the way. He's very awesome at answering questions on Twitter, via DM. So, but I mean, look, this is not a great start. Like, it just straight up isn't. So, like I said, it's this game tonight is like a blueprint of how he can be more effective off ball. But again, now it's accepting the fact that you're not going to be as on ball as probably what you thought you were going to be. I'm gonna bring it up faster, but I watched a dude tally the possessions. I'll be able to find the video, but he looked at each possession over a few games. And how fast is Giddey, and Kobe with a big drop up with Zach, and then people to like the 70 seconds remaining. Okay, sure. If that's the case, then I'll trust you then, Charles. But like I said, pace isn't fully like how fast does the ball go from point A to point B. It's the shot. It's how fast are you taking shots within the shot clock, right? And I guess more importantly, when I say that, it's how fast can you generate a quality look in the shot clock, right? It's not necessarily I need you to just shoot a three here. It's how fast can you draw up a quality shot in the 24 seconds? Like, can I get it within 10? Can I get it within 5? You know, the Rockets did the whole 7 seconds or less, right? Like it's how fast can I get that sort of stuff going, right? So here's the thing, though. It's like you would think, right, with the way that people talk about Giddey, that he should be able to easily open up guys for quality shots quickly. But again, that hasn't been the case. That just hasn't been the case so far. So maybe it's gonna happen later, but it has not been the case so far. There's just those type of offense they're running after that, which I think honestly, like there are better things that Donovan could run on offense, but I'm not gonna be too critical of it. I mean, the fact that they're shooting 46 threes a night, like I'm not gonna complain. I'm fine with it. Is there better plays? For sure, but I'm not gonna complain about it. Oh, Giddey is a slower play run because he will move like an elbow or something and kick or pause for a cut. Meanwhile, Kobo will run and shoot himself relatively more often. Yeah. But I think it's more so about the fact that like that's how you have to get Giddey in a spot for him to actively be a good passer, right? Like the fact that you have to set up a whole horn set and then run that sort of action, right? And then it's dependent on if Zach gets open on the back cut. If that's not there, then you got to go to plan B, right? That all in itself takes time, right? So, while it might not necessarily be Giddey's fault, it's the fact that that sort of play has to be run for him to be kind of put in that position. When instead, though, it's like if you have him, if he's able to just be in that sort of position at all times, where he's a threat to score, he's able to pass at any, like, if he draws multiple defenders at any point, like that's where you want to get to. But because he's not there, you're changing your offense to the point where you have to put him in that sort of spot. So, who's on the player running the action for whoever it is, Giddey or Billy when he's out there? It's definitely Billy. Billy, you can hear. I think you can hear more than ever this year. Billy is the one calling the plays. You can, if you listen closely, you can hear certain things. If you listen to the Detroit game, if you listen to the game tonight, if you go to crunch time, I think it was honestly the play where Zach airballed the 3-point shot. You can hear Billy scream elbow, and so you know automatically like Billy's yelling out the plays. But yeah, he's been more in charge of the Bulls offense this year. It's not Giddey. It's not really anyone on the court really. I think Giddey's as good as the pass as like Simmons to pull it off, but maybe learning the passing before pulling up a dribble is a growth area for his passing vision. Maybe learning the passing before pulling up a dribble is a growth area for his passing. Oh, okay. Anything helps, right? Player Vuce took a fadeaway late after Zach made a few threes, and Billy called a timeout the next possession, and then he ran a play for Zach, so I like the timeout by Billy. I think that timeout was for two things. One, the Bulls gave up, I think, a three on that defensive possession too. But also, Billy had a timeout that was basically a use it or lose it, and I think he wanted to make sure that they won the game. So I appreciate that timeout too. I think that's a good timeout by Billy. And they definitely drew up a nice play for Zach to get a three, which he didn't miss, but it was a good play. Simmons and Trey are the only two in the league that do it though. Yeah. I'm just like, hey, anything where Giddey can find some sort of advantage over any other player, where he can do something that other players can't, like that's like figure it out. Like that'd be helpful for him, because it would basically like separate him from other players. So anything helps. So if he can do that, awesome. But I don't know if he can. Like that's asking a lot. So these nice live dribble passes. I think I think you can easily make a montage of Giddey's nice passes this season. Like I've said, like, again, no matter what, if Giddey plays 30 minutes a game or around 30 minutes a game, he's gonna get his assists, he's gonna get his rebounds. I have full faith. His passing is great, but that's not what I care about. I'm sorry. Like, it's nice to have a really good passer on your team, but I don't want that guy having the ball constantly. Just like how the Bulls didn't give Lonzo Ball the ball constantly when he was healthy, okay? Like, he wasn't the guy bringing the ball up all the time. A lot of the offense was run by DeMar DeRozan, okay? And Zach. Like, that's how the team operated. And Lonzo accepted that. Like, he's the best passer on the team, but he's not the guy initiating all the offense all the time. So the problem is that with Giddey is that he's not the three-point shooter Lonzo is. So you're asking a guy that is supposed to be the on-ball player to be off-ball, and now he has to find ways to be effective. And it's like, I don't know. It's this major question mark in my head. So yeah, I'm interested to see, because obviously this is coming into tonight's game, and so Giddey had a plus minus. He had a positive plus minus tonight. This net rating though with Giddey, okay, I'm just gonna keep track of this right now for the time being, because again, negative 12 is insane. Like, that's an insane net rating. That means literally in every lineup you're a net negative. Like, every lineup you're just basically negative. And I'm sure that there are some lineups where it's just like he's barely, or he's positive in like for like whatever few minutes or whatever. But basically though, it's like that's a significant margin. So I'm just gonna keep track of how this is gonna like change, because I do think that the Bulls are better when he's not being the on-ball guy. I really do. I think that the Bulls are better. Now the big question is that how much better can they be? Are they going to be just a little bit better, or is his defense and his lack of off-ball ability going to really hurt the Bulls and keep the net rating where it is? I'm just interested to just see how it's going to go. It sucks that, like, I know that for all the Giddey fans, it's like, well, why was this decision made so quickly? But in reality, it's like you're looking at not just like the data that we've gotten from the season, but like also what Billy has seen in training camp. And I'm just interested. Like I'm interested to see if Billy's gonna ever have faith again into giving him that sort of leeway to kind of run plays again and be the main ball handler. But Billy gets to see a lot more than we see, obviously. But he has a lot more data to kind of look at from training camp and preseason stuff that he might think is important than we might think is important. Like, we look at specifically like the NBA games, right? Or the regular season games, excuse me. Billy might have something else that he's like looking at. Like, I don't know if it's a scrimmage or whatever, but like he might have more where he's just like, yeah, it's been only 15 games or whatever, but where he has all this other stuff that he knows happened. So it'll be interesting to see if he is gonna give Giddey back that sort of, the keys to the car. But if I had to make a guess, it's honestly what we're kind of looking at already, which is this is how it's gonna go. So figure it out. Like, it sucks for Giddey, but this is honestly where it's like, can you find ways to be effective off ball in a contract season where it's like you kind of don't really have a choice right now. If you're Giddey and you actively want to get paid this upcoming off season, like, you are a guy that like you want your next contract badly, and yes, you probably feel slighted right now because you thought that you're going to go to a team that's going to give you the ball a lot more, but right now it's not happening, right? But if you really want this next contract, then you got to seriously find a way to be effective off ball, or be effective with just having the ball less. It's not your strength, and you could argue that maybe that you're being set up to fail. But just like how we've been saying with Zach all the time of like, well, you got to find ways to be effective without scoring the ball. Like, it's same thing, okay? Like, these are NBA players. We're not talking about like, high schoolers or college students trying to figure things out. This is professional basketball. So this is where I'm saying, like, if you're Giddey, like, this is kind of the time to maybe look in the mirror and be like, okay, this is the situation I'm put in right now. How can I make the most of it? If I'm gonna get paid next, at least some money, I better start taking the sacrifice and doing the right thing here. Because if you don't, it's kind of blowing up in your face. Bradley Giddy gets a 20 mil a year contract to perform over a 30 mil one. To put perform over a 30 mil one that he will underperform. Well, I mean, I'm being real, Charles. Like right now, if I'm any other team, I'm not paying Giddy 20 mil a year. Like I'm not paying him. I'm not paying the Patrick Williams money. I'm throwing the mid-level exception at him right now, which is 13.8 mil, or whatever it is, or 12.8 mil. I don't know which one it is, but like, I'm not throwing anything really significant. So yeah, I got maybe mid-level exception. For Giddy though, if you want to actively be like, hey, no, I'm a starter, like, it's 12.8 mil this year, it's 14 mil next season. So, if you want to say like I'm a starter though, again, just saying, by the way, like we talk about how much the CBA has affected Zach LaVine's contract value. I mean, just think about what it's done to some of these other players, right? Like some of these other role players that, you know, if there was a different CBA, they'd be getting at least a little bit more chunk of money. And we're obviously seeing some players right now that they should probably be in the league, but due to the new CBA, they're out of the league right now. And they can't get a minimum contract. Teams are going to be more stingy with their money now. So when it's coming to any sort of risk for a player, when let's say Giddy doesn't have the greatest season right now, and everyone's like looking at him like, well, what is he still? If a team's going to be looking at a risk, right? Like they're not going to be willing to throw as much money. So I just throw a caution to the wind, where it's like, I don't think right now, if the season ended today, there's no way Josh Giddey's getting 20 mil a year. Man, would prefer to underpaid players. Oh, I agree. Yeah. For his own mental sake and long-term career, he'll get a better contract after if he outperforms it than under does this next one. But I don't know if he's necessarily thinking about that. Like, he's probably thinking about his next payday, though, not necessarily his, how long can I stay in the league, right? But Rob, like I said, though, I don't think he's going to get 20 mil a year. I just don't. Like, right now, if the season ended right now, he's not getting 20 mil a year. No one's paying him that. That's the reason I'm saying that in the mid-level exception money, 14 mil, it goes up every year, by the way. So it's not like he's only going to get 14 mil every year. TP just making Zach Steiner look better by comparison right now. Well, I mean, I understand that, but I think just in terms of, like, if you ask how many teams right now would pay Zach LaVine the full max contract that he's currently on, like not even like the full max of the current salary cap, I'm talking about just the max contract that he's on. I think a lot of teams would say no. I think they wouldn't do it. I think that teams would be like, I would pay you like 175 million, but would I pay you 215? Probably not. And it's because of the new CBA. Like if this was the old CBA, I think a lot more teams are like, yeah, we'll pay you 200 million easily. Like especially with the new salary cap now. But I was talking about like for now though, like if Zach was a free agent tomorrow, what sort of contract would he get if everyone had money? Like I don't know if he gets 200 million. Maybe it's like 175 to 185 million, which is still pretty good, obviously. But I don't think he gets 215, which he's currently on. But I do agree, though, that the PG contract makes Zach's contract look a lot better because PG's having a rough start. Maybe, I mean, for Giddy's sake, not for the team, taking pressure off himself will help him play better with how much hate he gets. I don't know, bro. He might just be looking for his next payday. Would I pay Simmons 20 mil than Giddy, though? Yes. I mean, bro, I wouldn't pay either 20 mil. Even for a one-year deal, I would not pay either. Yeah. But if he has no one else stars, then I maybe play him less minutes. I think Billy's been fine. I mean, Vooch has obviously played really well, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. I would give Zach 34 mil a year, even with the new salary cap. So again, I'm going off this year's salary cap. So this salary cap, remember, is 140. Okay, you're wondering how this works. The salary cap for when Zach signed his new contract. Okay, this was the year that Zach basically signed his new contract. All right, sorry, was it this year? Yeah, I think it was this year. Yeah, so it was this year. So this was the year that Zach LaVine signed his new contract. So he was making $37 million a year, with this new contract, right? So if you're wondering how much the salary cap was this year, though, okay, just so you understand the difference. This year's salary cap was $123 million. Okay, 123.6. This so in 2022-23, the salary cap was $123.6 million. Okay, the salary cap now in today's day, right, is 140.5. So 17 extra million. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of pointing out, like, what would teams give up? Like, 175 to 185 ish, 190 maybe, right? Because Zach signed 215, so he's getting paid $43 million this year, and then just look at the multi-year really quickly, $46 million next year, and then 48 on the player option. I'd be interested to see how much teams are willing to go, because like I could see a world, maybe example, like Zach goes for like, let's just say 40 flat every year, right? It wouldn't necessarily be like a 4-year. I guess I should make that more clear. Not 4-year, it'd be 5-year, right? Or sorry, 4-year versus 5-year. But in terms of just this instance, so it's 5-year, right, contract for Zach. 5 years, 215. So let's just do 40 flat for like 4 years. So it'd be like 160 for if you went to a new team. Like, pretty reasonable, I think, especially because then bigger salary cap the following season, by the way. So like, if you're wondering that for the next year, the projected salary cap is 154 million. We'll see if it actually gets there. But yeah, I think it would be somewhere between like 35 to 40 million annually. I think the bench units that can beat the Bulls. Oh, I agree with that. But explain to me though, Charles, how the hell is Lonnie Walker not in the league right now? Like, that makes no sense in my head. The fact that Lonnie Walker cannot find a team to play for right now is ridiculous. It shows that we need expansion. Like, we desperately need expansion in this league. Like, I've been calling for expansion for a while. Don't know exactly how they do it, but I know it's like you'd have to go to 36 teams to get all the divisions right, but I'm fine if you just go to 34, honestly, because that's a nice number. But yeah, I think there needs to be expansion, but it's either way though. It's like Lonnie Walker should be in the league right now. He's not in the league. That's insane. The fact that Lonnie Walker is not in the league right now. Because, every year there's an NBA draft every year, right? Not saying that, they're all gonna be studs, there's like not all of them are gonna come in and be studs, but it's a thing. So you're cycling out players, but the way that the league is right now, players are lasting a lot longer. Hence LeBron, hence Steph Curry, hence Kevin Durant. Like, some of these guys that we expected to kind of hit the decline, they have not declined yet. Like, at least so far. So, something suck more due to locking in bad contracts rather than talent existing around. Oh, I agree with that too. Some teams don't even have bad contracts. They just suck. They just suck at making rosters. Yeah. Versus is urge to say something about Bronny having an NBA spot, roster spot, bro. I've gone on like I think 2 Bronny rants already. I don't want to do a third, but I will say the fact that Bronny is only playing in home G League games is ridiculous. That is stupid. That is, I want to curse so bad. That is so unnecessary. That's so unnecessary, and it's ridiculous special treatment that he should not be getting. And yeah, he takes up a roster spot right now. He should be on a two-way contract, for God fucking sake. Sorry, I did swear. Yeah, I just, yeah, Bronny right now has a roster spot, but Lonnie Walker doesn't. That makes no sense. Larger player base than ever now, too, on top of longevity. Oh, I agree. Yeah. Internationally, it's huge. Like, it's just, the NBA needs to figure out something soon. I don't know exactly what they're gonna be doing. I know they just locked in this new TV deal. We know Inside the NBA is going to ESPN, by the way, if you didn't hear the news. But Inside the NBA is gonna be heading to ESPN soon. After this year, they won't be doing as many shows of it, but they'll be at least calling the NBA Finals, which will be cool. So there's a new 11-year deal. There's a new 11-year deal coming in, TV deal for the NBA. So it's going to be some serious money getting pumped in. So I'm just praying to God that the league actually starts really thinking about expansion. I don't know how hard it would be to do expansion into Mexico. I think that would be really cool, but I understand border issues, especially now. I mean, so the 2K generated one, so there's always the Nashville one. I don't know how that exactly would work. I think Nashville is sort of overrated. Kansas City, they have the football team and baseball team, but don't know how much they would want a basketball team. I think going back to Seattle would be great. A team in Vegas is great. I just don't know where to put teams out east. That's my only issue. It's like I don't really know where to put teams out east. I know it's like Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm just like I don't really think that's I think it's overrated. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where they kind of make some ideas. Like I don't know. They've talked about Vancouver a little bit. Don't know how realistic that is. Who did OKC sign? Sorry. One sec. G League dude? Okay. I'll really quickly look at it. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing to look at if you're the Bulls. Where's the okay? Here we go. Is this really the what? There's no more recent transactions. I don't understand. And Spot Track just doesn't have it. Brandon Carlson. Okay. Oh. Alright, cool. I'll keep an eye on him. Yeah, obviously, Thunder need front court help, so we'll see. Yeah. Rest in peace, Bob Love. By the way, I did see that. Yeah, I thought that I have not addressed that yet. Yeah, the only one that hasn't really worked out has been Pokashevsky. Um, that's the one that I think Sam Presti honestly just missed on that. Like, I was never high on Pokashevsky. I never really understood the hype, but that was like the one guy that they really botched. Like, oh no, he's going to be good, and like he just never turned into anything. But yeah, I would keep an eye on him for sure. I don't know exactly how the Bulls would get him because they don't have a roster spot open at the moment. But Rockefeller Chet prep work, I guess maybe. But either way, though, you would hope that he would turn into something, right? Not necessarily a starter, but just something better than what he turned into, obviously. I neither want to shut up Bally, so try a new system. Top player THD. I mean, I can understand that, but I don't think they're ever going to do that. Yeah. Basically, you pray to God that he only signs a 1-year contract with any team, and then you can go sign him after, once the season ends. that would be the way. Fracture, you get close to normal. Sorry, my nose is really stuffed. Hip fracture, does he even get back close to normal this year? I mean, I think he should eventually. I don't know exactly how. Hip fractures, I've really never have seen too many, so I don't know how people really respond to it. But it might take a while, but he should get back. I mean, it was early in the year, so he should get back to normal probably later in the year. Definitely before the playoff starts. He should be. I think he should be back to normal and barring setbacks. Things always happen. All right, y'all. Okay, good. I did go. I want to make sure I went to 11. All right, a couple of things before we do wrap up stream here. So first and foremost, once again, thank you for coming to stream tonight. Nice Bulls win overall. Pretty decent game. Thank you for all the likes. We've had over 65 people checking out the stream tonight, so thank you for all the support. If you have not already hit the like button, please do. Helps me out a lot. I appreciate everything. Couple of things. So Bulls play again on Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday there will be normal stream. 6:30 Central Time. We'll be facing the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. We'll get to see if the Bucks are still bad. This is going to be on ESPN and Chicago Sports Network. So watch whatever way you want to watch. Me personally, I'll be happy that I don't have to use my antenna. But yeah, so watch however you want to watch. I guess if you have ESPN or not, that's also important. So typical 9 o'clock Central Time is going to be the postgame stream here. Okay, that's going to be normal. Now Friday the Bulls play again. This is obviously this is going to be the in-season tournament game for the Bulls, so they'll be playing against the Atlanta Hawks. Or Bulls are 0-1 in the in-season tournament because they lost to the Cavs. But this one I can't guarantee a stream, and if I do stream, it's going to probably be very short. I have a very tough work week coming up here, so I do apologize about this. So if there is no stream on Friday, I do apologize. It's just kind of how things worked out. And I have a tough work week coming up, so I know it's like Friday night, but it's not Friday for me. I'll just say that. I do apologize for not streaming, but if I am, it's gonna be short. So just letting you know. Then Bulls then play again on Saturday, so I'm gonna say this same thing as Friday. We'll see how much if I do stream. Honestly, what's probably most likely gonna happen is that I don't stream on Friday and I stream on Saturday. So yeah, sorry about what if I do miss a stream, it's a short stream. I do apologize in advance. And tough work week coming up here. So Bulls take on the Grizzlies on Saturday, take on the Hawks on Friday, and the next game is against the Bucks on Wednesday. After that, the Bulls should be playing again on Monday. Nope, they have days off. Okay, so they actually get to have 2 days off playing Tuesday. So that's our remaining schedule here in the next week or so. Sound good? Savage Chat being out his OKC defense was a masterclass. He had something insane for domestic rating. other defensive player you can. Oh, I agree. Yeah. Pull some out better in the harder games and trash against easier ones. Oh, I mean that's the Billy Diamond way. Yeah. Yeah, the Bulls have. So, what is it? 5 of the Bulls wins have been on the road. Is that the stat? Yeah, yeah. Wait, why? I sometimes hate how the new NBA.com does some things. I'll just do this way. Okay. I don't remember exactly. Is there not a splits like? Oh, I just saw it. All right. Nope, this isn't either. What the hell? Bubbles. Oh, no. Here's the splits. Okay, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. God Almighty. Okay. Okay. Now, so the Bulls coming into tonight's game, they were 4-4 on the road. What the hell? Okay, that is kind of nuts. So we won 1 game at home. We're 1-5 at home and 4-4 on the road. That's great. um, and it's most of the wins against the Eastern Conference. Okay, so cool. We just added to that tonight. Yeah, and so a lot of our wins have been against teams over 500. So Memphis, Orlando, I guess I'd see at the time, and then Detroit was 7-8, so that doesn't count. Atlanta was under, and I guess Milwaukee was over 500 because they won their first game. So yeah, I guess that's how it works. Huh? That's interesting. That is crazy. But beat Orlando and New York, who are over 500 too. So if I'm remembering correctly, New York was not over 500. When we beat New York, they were not over 500. Is that correct? Am I misremembering? Yeah, I must be correct about that because they just won their last 3. I think they were 500 exactly. Hold on. Okay. Oh, okay. Cavs game. Oh yeah, so you're right. Yeah, they're 500 exactly. Okay. It was again to join a tiny East over 500 club. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're right. So it was New York, Orlando, and then Milwaukee would be the other team because they were 1-0. So count that if you want to, being 1-0. And then Memphis. Memphis was the other team. They didn't have Ja. Okay. Yeah, interesting. And so then the other 2 teams have been the Pistons and the Hawks, who are both under 500, but they're both Eastern Conference teams. Very funny, and they're both on the road. That's insane. Okay, wow, this team is ridiculous. Sure. Yeah, we definitely caught the Milwaukee 1-0, even though they're 4-9 currently or whatever they are. Like, yeah, we'll count it. Sure. They're 5-9 now, I guess. Yeah, that's honestly hilarious. Okay, yeah. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for another longer stream, and then I do apologize about the rest of the week. We'll see how that one goes out. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all being with me tonight. Thank you so much for checking in. Appreciate all the support, and then I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Peace.